Ain't no party like a Detroit party! Good evening, everybody, and welcome to round 7 of International Sim Racing Organization's 1986 F1 Series, coming to you from downtown Detroit. Cars are finishing their qualifying session on the riverfront. We will be going to the warm-up session in just a few moments. And I'm joined in the booth by Alberto Ibañez. Alberto, good evening.
Good evening, everybody, especially you, Jason, who is playing today the host in your beautiful city. It's going to be a great racing evening today, I'm sure about it.
Yes, as I mentioned, we are in downtown Detroit, and there you can see the beautiful Renaissance Center. This is my hometown. This is a race I've been looking forward to for a long time, and we put a lot of effort into this track to make it 1986 period correct. We started with the Carrera 4 build of Detroit, which is a very good Detroit build for 1988, but there were some inaccuracies that we needed to fix to make it 1986 period, and we've done that, and we hope that you enjoy all the effort that went into this race. But I'm very glad to have you with me tonight, Alberto. This should be a lot of fun. So let's take a look at the track map itself. Downtown Detroit Street Circuit. This was used by Formula One from 1982 through 1988. It is a street circuit and probably one of the more grueling races on the F1 calendar that year, if not the most grueling, Alberto.
Well, certainly, it's an attrition race. We always know that, as Jack Dempsey used to say, the fights on the streets are the tougher ones. And in motor racing, it goes for the same. Monaco is a big attrition race, and Detroit is also a big attrition race. This is, remember, an era in the 80s where the Formula One was already generally always contested in permanent road circuits, no longer on the streets, as it was the case mostly pre-war. But when there came the moment to one of these street races, well, you can see that the cars, they can go around here, but they are not certainly comfortable with nearly more than 1,000 horsepower on the tap for qualifying. This is mind-boggling at some point, and I think we're going to see later some snippets of what the drivers actually perceive when they are racing here. We've got some hot laps recorded and a tour around the street, and you're going to see how complicated it is to drive these machines around the city circuit.
Yeah, and as hometown boy Brian Janik points out in our chat, I mean, even in the guise that this track is right now, it still doesn't take into account the teeth-jarring bumps that were famous on the Detroit circuit back in the day. I believe John Watson, after he won in 1982, called the surface a washboard. So, I mean, that was certainly one of the reasons why the series ultimately left after 1988 and was replaced by Indy cars, who raced on the same circuit minus the little chicane from 1989 through 91, and then they moved, of course, to Belle Isle after that. There are a lot of people actually in Detroit who have nostalgia for this race and wish that we could have it downtown again, but geographically it actually wouldn't work because some of the portions of this track don't actually exist anymore in terms of taking cars down them. So this track, for most intents and purposes, is pretty much gone. We wouldn't be able to recreate it even if we wanted to. But it is an interesting circuit. Of course, this is the home of the American automobile, so having a Formula One Grand Prix downtown was a big deal at the time. And I don't know, I think, well, before we go to the actual lap that you and I took in a Oldsmobile around the track to give everyone a tour of downtown Detroit, let's take a look at where we stand with the championship at the moment. After 6 rounds in the championship, we have a very, very tight fight at the top. Anders Nilsson is in first with 30 points, and Richard Wilkes is just behind him in second with 28 points. That's fantastic. I'm starting to think it's going to be a title bout between these two over the 16 rounds.
It could be, although you can never discard the fact that one of them starts not finishing some of the races. And with these Formula Ones, anything is possible, because be it for an accident or be it a mechanical failure, if you're out of the race, you will start suffering immediately. Although we know there is drop scores in this championship, which helps a lot, but still. You know that in real life, when it was contested, it was a last-minute surprise how it went down.
Mm-hmm. And then the rest of the top five there, we have Dave Miller and Juha Boss tied for third place with 17 points apiece. And then right behind them in fifth place is Richard Coxon with 5 points. I'm sorry, no, he's in fifth with 16 points. Excuse me. In the constructors' standings, Scuderia Ferrari is in the lead with 46 points. JPS Team Lotus in second with 30 points, so it's a bit more spread out here. Benetton Formula is in third with 22 points. Marlboro McLaren International is in fourth with 19 points, and then Cannon Williams Honda is in fifth with 17 points. So you're right about the dropped scores. They don't come into play just yet. We have to get a bit further down the pike before we start seeing that come into play. But I wouldn't be surprised if that has a huge impact on how the series ends up, given how competitive it is.
Yeah, and that drop scores, they tend to favor those who are very quick and aggressive and score podiums and score finishes and all that, but maybe they don't finish at some situations. Because obviously, if you're dropping scores, what you want to do is drop scores that were really where you couldn't have a good race. If you are a more regular guy, but you don't get really brilliant results, then the dropping some of those scores, if you're a regular, might actually hurt a lot more.
All right. Well, while we are waiting for the warm-up to start, or it's probably the briefing is actually going on right now. So what we're going to do is we're going to roll a tape-recorded lap that you and I took in an Oldsmobile, and following that immediately, we will show you a lap at speed around the circuit. So you'll get the tourist view, and then you'll get the driver's view. So without further ado, I'm going to roll the tape here, and hopefully this will be entertaining and historically interesting as well. Okay, Alberto, you ready to go for a little spin?
I'm looking forward to it very much.
All right, here we go. All right, exiting the pit lane here in downtown Detroit. Oh, wait a minute, hang on. We got to stop here for a second at the end of the pit lane already, because I think I recognize somebody.
Oh.
Look, you know who that is?
Yeah, I think
Why, it's Chris Economaki.
it's no other than Chris
Yeah,
Economaki, right?
from CBS Sports. Hey, Chris, the late great Chris Economaki, working the pits for us here in Detroit. All right. Well, we'll let Chris get back to his very important job.
Where are we now? What is this avenue?
This is Atwater.
Very appropriate name from what I can see to the right.
Yeah, basically. Well, I suppose you could also call the backside of this Atwater, but this whole section here actually, both back then and today, is a parking lot, so it's not really used for anything. This is turn 1 we're going through now. All of this, yeah, was not really used for anything, which is why you can get the semicircle. There is the Renaissance Center, which was built in 1977. It originally was actually, the main tenant was Ford for a while, and then General Motors is now the tenant there. So now we head right here into turn 3, going up the hill on St. Antoine Street. This is one of the big elevation changes. Now heading right onto Woodbridge. This actually merges with Jefferson Avenue up here. You can't really see it, but it's right up here. Now we're going to cross over the freeway here in a second. Here, this is the.
I can see here to the right.
Yeah, this is the service drive right here. So just beneath us here is Interstate 75. That right there ahead of us is the Blue Cross Blue Shield building. Those are the people who do health insurance in Detroit for a lot of people. So now this is one of the more picturesque versions of the, or not version, sections of the track. This is the Congress Street portion, which kind of snakes right and back to the left. This up here, this big concrete thing right here, is the People Mover. This was a small train that was installed back in the 80s, and it's a train that only goes one way. And it has a very short loop around the city. You can go to the Renaissance Center. You can go to some other places.
Does it go hovering over that structure?
No, it goes up there. It just runs around there. If we had more time, it would have been fun to build that. But you can see here too some of the downtown buildings. The one that's the kind of older looking one in the middle of the picture there, that's the Wayne County building. The building to the left is the Penobscot. The old version of this track didn't have the little antenna on top, so I built that for it.
Nice detail.
This building down right here is there's a bar there that's pretty good. I like to go to occasionally, right next to the. It's changed hands over the years. I don't think they've been open for a while now because of COVID. But in any case, Stroh's beer advertisements all over the place here because Stroh's is a Detroit beer.
Oh, awesome.
Yes. So that's why you'll see Stroh's everywhere. You can see the people mover there going back to the right, so we got to watch out for these manhole covers. Now, we are on Larned Street heading under Millender Center. And this up here, that kind of beige building or kind of terracotta building, that's one of the more beautiful buildings in Detroit. That is the Guardian Building. Beautiful architecture. If anybody hasn't seen that, I encourage you to have a look at it online. This right here is another building that's now occupied by Alley, but that is designed by Philip Johnson. This building right here, who's a famous architect.
Is that a brick building, the maroon one there?
Yeah, the Guardian Building's a brick building, yeah, but the architecture and especially the foyer inside is just amazing. All right, so let me get back going here. The building that's on the left here was designed by Minoru Yamasaki, same guy who designed the original World Trade Center. He also did a bunch of buildings in Detroit, particularly ones on the Wayne State University campus. But you can notice the very similar architectural style here of Minoru Yamasaki. You see it in a lot of his work.
There's also a passageway to the other building.
Yeah, that passageway has been there for a long time, so people can go between one building and the other.
Yeah, instead of having to go down like I don't know how many floors and then back up again.
Now this over here, this is the Coleman A. Young Municipal Center. This is essentially the city building where you go if you need to get a divorce or get a liquor license or any number of other things. That is the Spirit of Detroit, which is the statue that basically is the symbol of the city. You see it on a lot of stuff. This was delivered to Detroit by a ship in 1958. It was sculpted by Marshall Fredericks, and he's holding kind of a golden orb in one hand with like light rays coming out of it, and on the other hand is just a family. So, but that's pretty much the iconic symbol of of city government here. All right, let's see. Right ahead is that kind of two rectangular piece building, and right ahead of us there, that's the old Ford Auditorium, which has since been demolished. Right ahead of us there is the very controversial Joe Louis fist sculpture. My mother always hated this sculpture. She thought it was so ugly because you're looking at like the back end of his arm just kind of severed, and it just looks really strange. It's not everybody's taste. But and then there's that. I'm not sure what the name of that abstract sculpture is there, but it's that one's like kind of a spiraling kind of thing, which is kind of interesting. Oops, I'm outside the car here now. I got to get back inside. There we go. All right, so I got a downshift in this thing. Come on, you. This Oldsmobile's only got 246 miles on it, Alberto.
Oh yeah, we have taken absolutely no cutback in the expenses.
Yeah, we got to get this back to the dealer with no problem though. Oh, this building right here, right ahead of us here on the right is the Pontchartrain Hotel. This place, if the walls could talk. A lot of rock stars stayed in this hotel when they were performing at Cobo Arena over here. And lots of late night parties in this hotel, I'm told, when it was called the Pontchartrain. Now,
wasn't here in Detroit in one of the hotels where the Who famously ended up throwing
Oh, shoot, I just scraped the car against the barrier. Shoot.
Oh, come on, nobody saw it.
All right, fine. I don't know if the Who came here, but and stayed there, but that's potentially what happened. There you see the Penobscot back there too. I was really glad I could put the spire on that thing. Now, This is Cobo Hall, where the auto show happens a lot of the time. This is the way Cobo Hall appeared in 1986. It was in the middle of renovation. So if you look, I'm going to get up out of the car here a little bit. Now, if you look back there, you see there's plywood on the doors because they've taken down the facade, a portion of it, and they're in the middle of renovating it. But all this marble and everything in here, this is how it actually appeared in 1986. The 88 build of this track had kind of a cubistic facade, you know, which was not up yet. That one appears in 1988.
Amazing.
Amazing. Pedantic, more like.
Well, if you say so.
Well, whoa! Okay, I gotta reverse here. Oh, what's going on here?
First go to neutral.
Yeah.
No, this automatic gear shifts.
There we go. Okay. Yeah, try reverse. That's backwards. Okay. All right. So this is Cobo Arena up here, which is still the same way. Now, this portion of the track here, we cannot drive down anymore in modern day. This is kind of almost like a Monaco situation where you're kind of dropping down. It's almost like Lowe's, our version of it. Heading back to the right here. There's the People Mover again, off to the right. This is the Detroit Princess, which is a riverboat that still resides on this corner. You can go for tours of the river. Now there's the Renaissance Center again. This is the tunnel. I've driven through this tunnel myself a number of times.
It's a very long track for me.
It's only 2.5 miles. It seems like a long track because we're just cruising around. This parking structure still exists, and now we're coming up to the pump house turn. Right. Whoa! Left. And now we're along the river here. This is the Detroit River, which we started out at, but you look to the right there, and that is Canada over there, Windsor, Ontario, where we used to...
That's exactly what the name goes. Detroit is Detroit.
Detroit.
Means, yeah, the city of the straits.
Yes, it is. That's correct. And then this chicane, which is basically there for the F1 cars. They took it out for the Indy cars. F1 was here. All right, I'm going to go for one more proper lap. Yeah, F1 raced here from 1982 to 1988. And then Indy cars raced downtown here from 89 to 91, and then they moved to Belle Isle.
It's fortunate that we are getting some nice tickets.
Yeah, no kidding. I can't hear you over this engine. Oh, no. Stop. All right. Well, I think we better stop while the car is still one piece. But that is a look at Detroit, my hometown, the downtown section. Hope you enjoyed it. And of course, now we're gonna quit, and you're gonna be able to see the this track from a much faster speed. So thanks very much, Alberto, for coming for a ride with me.
Thank you, dude. You've been a great guy.
All right. So that was us going around the track in an Oldsmobile. Now we're on board with U-Haul Boss, crossing the start-finish line, going into a fast lap here at Detroit. I wager this will be more exciting, Alberto.
Yeah, it will become blurry very quickly.
So this is a semicircle that actually takes place in a parking lot. Now we're on Atwater Street, heading towards the first right-hand turn in this circuit. Now going up the hill on St. Antoine Street, back to the right again, onto Woodbridge, and this kind of fades back to the left and kind of merges with Jefferson. And as you keep turning to the left here, you end up on the Chrysler Service Drive, another left-hand turn. Now we are on Congress Street. This is the only really curvy portion of the circuit. Underneath the People Mover here, and now onto Beaubien, left, and then back to the right again. Now we're going down Larned Street under Millender Center. One of two, well, that's quasi kind of a tunnel. And now we go left here by the Coleman and Young Municipal Center, the only time we're on the famous Woodward Avenue. Back to the right now onto Jefferson Avenue, driving down towards Cobo Hall, the Pontchartrain on the right. Downshifting left at Cobo Hall, Cobo Arena right ahead. This is Washington Boulevard. Then downhill through this section here that takes us back to the riverfront, heading back to the right. There's the Detroit Princess. Downshifting, turning left, now heading through the Atwater Tunnel, also known as the Goodyear Tunnel. And now we downshift for the pump house turn, right and left. This is a very, very critical portion. Exit here, and now you go through the chicane. And now onto the start-finish straight, and that is one lap of Detroit. So, a pretty exciting track. Definitely a track that is going to challenge everybody to not only set up a car that will make all those turns perfectly each time, but also not incur any damage either by contact with another car or with a wall.
Yes, because to be quick here, it's critical that you use till the last inch of the track, and that means getting very uncomfortably close to the barriers. So you need to have a car that you can like keep in control close to the barriers, but at the same time is loose enough to make it run the corners. It's going to be certainly a big challenge, and overtaking here is probably not going to be easy. I mean, one thing is lapping cars because there are many braking areas, and that's fine if the lapped car is collaborating and sees you. And a very different one is jockeying for position. And I think that if people get aggressive here, we're going to see a lot of things ending in tears. Hopefully not, but you can always fear the worst here.
Yeah, it's 63 laps around here, or 2 hours, whichever comes first. I'm curious if you think we're going to hit the 2-hour limit first.
I don't think so, because just for those little differences that are between the track and the real one and those instances, we're actually going quicker here than they did in the real track. So I don't think we're in any danger of hitting the 2-hour limit here. There are other dangers besides the wall that the drivers will have, however, to take into account. And the first of all is going to be the brakes. That's going to be a very important concern for everybody today.
Yeah, it's nice to have a race where fuel is not going to be a concern. It's kind of a luxury, it feels like.
It feels like that, but if they crank up the boost to dispense with that fuel that they have, they will get a lot of wheel spin and a car that is way more uncontrollable. So it's never. That's a bit what happens with Formula One. It's always a mixed blessing, you know. When you can do one thing, you usually hit another wall figuratively.
So but the cars are on the track right now, and we have. Let's see, how much time do we have until we go to? Got about 16 minutes or so. Looking at John team here. Actually, John is driving a Haas Ford. This is actually the home race for this team because it's a United States-based team. And street circuits like these tend to be an equalizer, would you say? I mean, somebody who's in a car that might not be competitive on another circuit might have a shot here.
Yeah, for sure, because I've mentioned wheel speed before, and the thing is that the loud pedal here, you need to be very sensitive with it. So the cars have effectively, even the biggest ones, more power than they can put on the road. And that means, as you say, that you have a big equalizer in place. Because what good is having, like, I don't know, 900 horsepower versus 700 horsepower of the weaker engines when you can actually only put like 500 on the ground when you're in the first gears. So yeah, driving ability is a premium here.
So predictions, who do you think has a shot at winning this race?
Many people will have today, because the Renault engines, and we have some very quick people going strong here with the Renault engines, like the Lotus, the Tyrrell and everything. We have Vadim Tasiak continuing his good line of qualifying very high, but we also have the Lotus team. The Renault, as I said, Grant Bridal also has one, and right, the Renaults don't have the fuel concerns, which means they can like go full out all the time. But I would be willing to bet today. I'm going to bet my money today on Gabriele Del Piccolo, who has been steadily improving since he has really got the hang of that car. And I would really like to see him get a good result and see if he can get in the mix for the championship fight.
All right. I am going to go out on a limb and say that Vadim Tasiak will do well in this race. I mean, he's done fantastic qualifying results, and those of you who have been on our YouTube channel will have seen. Well, I mean, it wasn't on our YouTube channel. We sourced it as a link in a playlist. But he's done some really good hot laps around here. Incidentally, a little bit of trivia for you. You'll notice in John Team's car here, there's a change in helmet here. Do you know who's in the car now?
That's Eddie Cheever, unless I'm mistaken.
It is Eddie Cheever with his red, white, and blue helmet with the star. So this was a big deal for him, obviously, being in the United States. So, even though he grew up in Italy, so he's probably one of the more international drivers in the circuit, if you think about it.
Yeah, he certainly is, and he was a very talented young man back then, waiting, very hungry, very eager to get an opportunity in Formula One, because he was already looking at sports cars, and he had done some very impressive performances in GT cars by then. But as many other drivers, he was here hoping for that opportunity to get the ride in Formula One. For some, that resulted in really going up big time, like Michael Schumacher in his day. But for Cheever, unfortunately, it didn't mean the career turn that he had hoped for.
Yeah, unfortunately, it did not. Of course, I wish it could have turned out that way for him, but and then when he made it over to Indy cars, it just didn't quite pan out either. So, oh, we've got a Brazilian contingent in the YouTube chat pulling for Bruno Paggiola, Bruno Chacon, and Luciano Rocha. So that's good. Brazilian.
If we had to give a prize to the most interested and most active fan club here, that would be certainly a tie between the Miller fan club and the Brazilian fan club.
Yeah, actually, Brazilians have quite a history in the Detroit Grand Prix. Piquet won the race once, I believe. Senna won it 3 times. And then Emerson Fittipaldi won the race twice, which was the IndyCar version.
Yeah, so the Brazilians basically own this track.
Pretty much, yeah. So hopefully they'll have a good day today. All right, so we're going to pause for our customary commercial break. We'll be right back after these very Detroit-centric messages. These are actual local Detroit ads from 1986. Hope you enjoy.
Come on, 10,000.
Yes, 10,000. Now, give us a letter, Bruiser.
Give me an L.
Yes, there are 2 L's. Now, can you solve the puzzle?
I can't figure it out.
I'm sorry, we're out of time. But you're not.
Right, JJ. Know the missing letter and listen to 98.7 this Thursday morning at 7:10. You can win $10,000. Play Wheels of Fortune on 98.7 WLLC.
Could you tell which 1-carat diamond costs $5,000 and which $1,000? Thousands of customers of the Charles Kent Reber Company can tell the quality of each diamond. For 23 years, the Reber Company has completely educated every customer. At Michigan's only diamond cutting factory, you also buy direct without middlemen at 1/3 less cost than diamonds on sales in stores. For your appointment or the Reber Company's free brochure of diamond facts, call 342-6663 or just dial Diamond, D-I-A-M-O-N-D.
Dietrich, since 1893. Dietrich furs by the Dietrich family. Oh, Dietrich furs by the Dietrich family.
How can Ray Whitfield Ford, South Telegraph in Taylor, and Allen Ford, North Telegraph in Bloomfield Hills sell so many top-quality used cars? Well, one reason is for over 30 years, people buying their first car know that here you get a doggone good deal.
Here, dog. Come on, dog. Me and dog want you to go to Telegraph Road right now. get a good deal.
Allen Ford, Bloomfield Hills, Ray Whitfield, Ford Taylor, with a great used car to fit a first-time budget.
It doesn't happen often, but when it does, it happens big. Now, for 4 days only. Now through Monday at Fredder, everything's on sale. Like this remote-controlled 13-inch color TV, $163. And this Fisher front-load VHS video recorder, $349. Or this Philco 25-inch remote-controlled TV, $397. Everything's on sale, but only for 4 days. Now through Monday only. Only at...
Now's the time. Fredder's the place, and everything's on sale.
I get asked, Al, what's your secret? Kessel Food Markets offers quality and variety, national and Kroger brands, U.S. choice beef, farm fresh produce at low, low prices. You know our secret. We're with you.
USDA choice full cut round steak only $1.38 a pound. Fresh all beef hamburger just 89 cents a pound. U.S. #1 Michigan potatoes 99 cents. Hamburger helper 89 cents. And save on more General Mills products at Kessel.
In memory of Rosalie Kopecky, Kopecky Mattress is having their annual spring sale. Through March 31st, save 10% store-wide off Kopecky's everyday low prices, including orthotype inner spring sets with 20-year guarantee and 2 years firmness adjustment on Kopecky's Deluxe Series. Buy direct from the factory, get free delivery up to 50 miles and 3-day service on all standard sizes. Call 891-9034. Use MasterCard or Visa at Kopecky Mattress Company on Conant, 3 blocks south of Davison, east of I-75, serving Detroit and suburbs for 59 years.
Tubby submarine. There's no substitute, just no substitute for Tubby submarine. Gotta get down to a Tubby's. I would go out of my way. 25 delicious varieties, a guarantee to make you say, oh, Tubby submarine. Ooh, I love those Tubbies.
Long ago, Michigan carved out a wilderness, a place in history, leading industries like lumber, mining, and steel, then furniture and food products. The world had never seen a greater concentration of manufacturing know-how. Today, that know-how has made us the International Center for Advanced Manufacturing. We're not only carving a whole new place in the highest technologies, we're making the future happen here, now.
I'd like to tell you about a fantastic radio station.
I'd like to tell you about a totally awesome radio station for sure.
Lots of radio stations are trying to imitate WRIF. I'm back to tell you that no one does it quite like Riff. There's our original 5-in-a-row guarantee, 3 Hart Plaza concerts, and of course, Riff's great rock and roll music. Plus,
JJ and the morning crew, Ken Calvin, Arthur Penhallow, Steve Costan,
and Karen Savelli. In Detroit radio, there's Riff. And then there's everyone else.
Baby.
And we're back, baby! Sorry, Alberto's in the dark there because he didn't see the ads.
No, I was actually watching them. Not all of them, but I've been watching snippets. Very 80s-like.
Yes, well, Dietrich Furs still exists, and it's right near where I work. But I remember those ads as a kid. Ooh, Dietrich Furs. And WRIF is still on the air as a active rock format. The guy who used to be the main DJ there, DJ Arthur Penhallow. He always spoke with a voice like this, baby! And if you see, there is a WRIF billboard on the track somewhere there.
One thing I find interesting there in the United States advertising is you have a lot of local advertising. For us here in the commercials, even in the 80s, but also right now, it's mainly things that are on a national level.
Yes.
You don't get adverts of local businesses here in mainstream TV.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but it's still a big deal here in the States. Lots of local TV ads. So. But that's a taste of what was on local Detroit television back in the 80s. I especially loved that cartoon cowboy with the banjo and the dog for Ray Whitfield Ford. Everybody I know who grew up here, you can just say to them, "Me and Dog want you to go to Telegraph Road," and they'll know exactly what you mean.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I know from the history of the American automotion that the local dealers, some were very, very famous and even had an impact on the development of many special versions of the cars. I mean, the local dealers had a power and importance in the United States that you don't see here in Europe.
Yeah, the way that cars are sold in the States, it's still very different from the way it's sold in Europe. In the States, you can go on a dealer lot and you'll see every single version of the car that you could buy right there. And they just have massive amounts of inventory. The notion is that you can go on the lot that evening, purchase the car and drive off just like that, which sounds insane when you're talking about a 5-figure purchase. But that's what happens a lot of the time. The other, then in Europe, you've got a different situation where you order a car and wait for it to come.
Yeah,
So,
or even if it's a car that it's available in the dealer, for whatever reason you want one of them, because it's, I don't know, with a discount or whatever, you still need several days of paperwork, insurance, and all the thing until you can drive it.
There's a famous joke about a Soviet car dealership. I may as well tell it because it's a similar theme, but as far as the time frame, guy in the Soviet Union goes to the dealership. It takes you 10 years to get a car after you order one in the Soviet Union. So he plunks down the money that he's saved up, and the guy at the dealership says, "Okay, come back in 10 years, and you can pick up your car." And the guy says, "Morning or afternoon?" and the dealer looks at him and says, "What are you talking about? It's in 10 years. What difference will it make?" He says, "Well, the plumber's coming in the morning." So, anyway, but if you look off to the right, we made some other improvements to this track. You got the animated water here for the Detroit River that is from the Monaco circuit. So that looks really nice.
Yes, it's a standard Automobilista shader that you can apply to the water, and it's very nice. I've been myself many years into naval sims because I absolutely love naval simulations, and for me, seeing animated water here in Automobilista is a first.
All right, so we didn't get to see the results of qualifying. Did you see who happened to be on pole? Because we're getting some questions about that.
It's Vadim Tasiak.
Oh boy, well, actually, it doesn't surprise me that the Tyrrell would do well here, and based on Vadim's laps that he posted on YouTube, it doesn't surprise me that he'd be in the pole. In actual fact, in this race, the Ligés were out in front for a bit, which was interesting. They didn't end up winning the race, but it was pretty hilarious what was going on. I think it was Arnoux and Jacques Lafitte engaging in a bit of a scrap at the front, and here Ligier hadn't won a race since 1981, so it was kind of selfish from their point of view, but to be going at it like that. But in any case, so I'm picking Vadim to win. Who did you pick to win?
For me, it will be Gabriele Del Piccolo, but we'll see.
All right,
I mean,
so
this is a race with a mixed situation. I mean, this is not a normal race. There's going to be attrition, very unforgiving walls, and probably some nasty surprises for some drivers. So anything can happen, and the usual steady cruisers like Anders Nilsson, Richard Coxon, or Richard Wilkes, they obviously have here a fair chance. But if being aggressive, if being really on the edge and bringing your car to the limit doesn't end in tears, then I think the guys to watch are going to be Vadim Tasiak and Gabriele Del Piccolo.
All right, so we're coming down to the end of the warm-up here, 10 seconds to go. 63 laps or 2 hours are on the board for the Detroit Grand Prix. So grab a Coney dog and a Faygo and kick back and watch the Detroit Grand Prix. It's too bad that we can't show the Lafayette and American Coney Islands in this track, but they're way too far off the map. You wouldn't see them. But I've been to pretty much all of the buildings that you see in here, at least in the downtown section. All right, 63 laps on the board, and indeed it is Vadim Tasiak who is on the pole. So we'll go for one installation lap here, or sighting lap, whatever you want to call it. We'll regrid the cars, and then we'll be on our way. I tried doing a few laps in a Nocella around here, and I was just like, good grief, I'm glad I'm in the booth and not on the track. I am much better at turning left at high speed than trying to figure this stuff out.
Yeah, which is what we're going to do next. But
Yep.
we'll talk about that later.
Yes, all right. So the cars are gridding right now.
Now you can see with all the cars in the grid how it feels a bit more tight.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's definitely a canyon, no question about it. All right, so... All right, we're off on the sighting lap now. Cars are now heading towards turn number 1. On the pole for this race, we have Vadim Tasiak, Data General, Team Tyrrell. In second, Grant Riddall. Not really surprised to see him up there in the Ligier. I think getting off the line.
Another hard target here.
Yeah, it's going to be an interesting start. And there's your pick in third, Gabriel Del Piccolo, Benetton Formula. Fourth is David Jakes, Benetton Formula. So the Benettons basically locked out the second row. Fifth is Tim Hilla.
Great performance by Tim today,
Yes.
qualifying his teammate.
Sixth is Anders Nilsson in the first of the Ferraris. Seventh is Richard Coxon in the other Ferrari. Eighth is Juha Boss, Marlboro McLaren International. Ninth is Jules Bouchard, Team Haas USA in their home event. 10th, the Detroit Demon, Brian Janik, Motor Racing Developments. This is Brian's home race, obviously. A lot of people in the stands will be pulling for him. Richard Wilt starts 11th, the series leader. John Player Special Team Lotus. 12th is Ray Riddall in the other Ligier. 13th is Adam Hackman, Cannon Williams Honda team. 14th is Dave Miller and the other Williams. It's interesting how some team cars are right close together here. 15th is John Team in the other Team Haas entry, Eddie Cheever's car. 16th is Ruben Fernandez, Ocella Squadra course. 17th is David Saber, Data General Team Tyrrell. Little Al is starting 18th in the AGS. We'll see how he does today. 19th is David Yunt, Barclay Arrows BMW, Christian Danner's car. 20th is Bruno Chacon, who had an excellent outing last time for Marlboro McLaren. 21st is Bruno Paggiola, Minardi team. 22nd, Johnny Aces, having a one-off start today for West Zach Speed.
Injured driver, Cesarius. We wish him well from here.
Yes, hope you're doing well, Cesarius. Hurry back, because we want to see you do well at Indianapolis. 23rd is K.O. McKeels, Motor Racing Developments. 24th, we have Tomas Matusik in the Minardi team entry. Number 23, I believe, yes. 25th is Luciano Rocha, West Zach Speed. And rounding out the field, 26th is Mikael Drexler, Ocella Squadra course. That is your grid.
And Vadim taking it easy here because he doesn't want to be for a long time standing there in the grid waiting until the rest of the cars take the place. Snaking through this area by the sea. They are coming now nearly to the starting position of this grid. Long snake behind him, you can see. Many cars still like 2 or 3 turns away, while the first are already in the grid.
All right, so I'm going to give us a nice high view of the start here so we can see what happens, and I'll pan back to the right here. So normally I put a green light graphic on, but you're just going to have to trust me that the race is underway without the graphic. All right, so watch for Vadim Tasiak's name to flicker, and then we will be under starters' orders in the Detroit Grand Prix. Well, there it is. Stand by for the start of the Detroit Grand Prix. Here come the lights. And the race is underway in Detroit. Vadim Tasiak gets away good, but look at Grant Riddall coming up the inside. Is he going to take the lead going into the first turn? Yes, he is. Grant Riddall slips up the inside. Vadim will drop to second place, looking to see that everybody gets through the first turn with no problem. Looks like they're okay. And yes, look at Vadim going up the inside. My goodness, he's going to take the lead. Oh my goodness, lots of course quarters action here. Vadim takes the lead. Grant is in second. Oh no, we've got contact. It is Ray Riddall crashing just before Woodbridge. And I believe another car, yes, a Lotus of Richard Wilkes is out of the race. That's incredible.
Place to be.
Oh, and Ray's lost both his wings, so incredible drama already. before we get through the first lap, the championship leader out of the race. Vadim Tasiak leads, and we have Nilsson in second, Del Piccolo third. So after getting off to a great start, Grant Riddall has dropped right down. I don't see him, actually. It's rather interesting. So we're going to have to keep a close eye here as we head down towards Jefferson Avenue, now down to Cobo Hall. So it's a picture-perfect start for Vadim, and he was very aggressive attacking on the inside there. As we are now down to Cobo Hall, the car's coming down towards the west end of the track. There's Grant. Grant has lost a lot of time. He is currently in 10th place, so a lot of positions lost there as they head now through the Goodyear Tunnel. Vadim leads, Anders Nilsson second, Gabriel Del Piccolo is in third, Tim Hilla fourth, David Jakes fifth, Dave Miller sixth, Juha Boss seventh, Richard Coxon eighth, Brian Janik, the hometown boy, is ninth, Jules Bouchard 10th, Grant Riddall is now down to 11th, David Yunt is 12th.
And Ray Riddall is heading back to the pits in a crippled car, and it's hard for him to keep control, and I just hope he gets there before the rest of the pack gets to him, because he's really having the worst possible situation now. I watched quickly the replay, and it seems that there was a bit of a traffic jam, and Ray was surprised and had to brake very hard, and Richard Wilkes basically ran him from the rear because he didn't expect it to happen. Very unfortunate, but that's what you get in city circuits.
Well, this is going to have huge championship implications because the leader of the championship is Wilkes, and he's out of the race. Or I'm sorry, he's actually not the leader of the championship. He's in second in the points. I got so used to him leading it. But Nilsson is currently running second in the race, so that means that if he has a good finish here, he could take a huge championship lead here. Well, not huge, but it would definitely add a cushion. So big championship implications here, possibly. Down to Cobo Hall now.
And I cannot see Grant Riddall.
Well, Grant is, oh my goodness, you're right. Grant is, does not appear to be on our chart, where Ray is still, let's see, where is Grant? Oh, there he is. Grant is in 10th place right now. He's right behind Brian Janik as they head to the riverfront once again by the Detroit Princess.
Very interesting recovery by Brian Janik, by the way, who is now
look at this
up there.
Yep, Grant's going to try to pass him on the outside going into the pump house turn. He gets it done. Yellow flags in this section. Not sure what's going on.
Yes. It's Ray Riddall who was heading into the pits, and it's really tight, but it worked beautifully. Just that he was veering into the pits, but Vadim Tasiak happened to come around, so it was absolutely perfectly timed, fortunately for everybody.
Into turn one once again, yeah, so Grant definitely got crossed up on that first lap, which is not hard to do, but definitely this is going to be a chance for Anders to assert his dominance in the series. But look at this, he's very close to Vadim now as they head through Congress. So we'll see if Anders can get advantage here. The best places to overtake on this track, where do you think they are, Alberto?
Well, it's hard to tell, but it's at the braking area before all the corners. For example, where they are right now, that could be a place. But the problem here is that what you really need is a bit of an error from the part of the guy in front.
Yes,
otherwise
I would agree.
It's hard, yes, because you need to have him like lose traction coming out of the corner or being too violent or whatever, because otherwise it's too complicated. I mean, the space between each turn is too little to allow you to get a good run on the car in front. And since we have no problems with fuel here, I mean, they can use more turbocharger if they need it, but so will be the guy in front doing so.
Yeah, I think that's definitely what's going on here, because Vadim has been able to pull away from the Ferrari on the long sections. I guarantee you he's using the boost, and since we don't have the problem of running out of fuel here, definitely people are going to be using boost for all it's worth. This is going to be
and I'm betting they are using it dynamically, and I mean, once the car is at speed, they will be increasing the turbo pressure, because otherwise you just get wheel spin. If you are in first or second,
true,
and get more and put more boost pressure, the only thing that you get in return is basically that, more wheel spin.
Del Piccolo is solidly in third place. Looking back, David Jakes is now working on Tim Hilla for fourth.
Yeah, Jake's up there, very, as is usual the case, very discreetly, but always there in the top 5, and it's a guy to keep always on the watch, because he can be a championship contender towards the end. The Benettons are improving from race to race. You can see that, and while the other cars seem to have a development that is not maturing so much. Benettons were actually race contenders at the end of this season, so it doesn't surprise me at all if you get a quality driver like David Jakes.
Yep.
That they are there up at the front.
Heading back down to Cobo Hall once again here. Tim Hilla holding his own against David Jakes, and David Jakes, even though he had his home race in Canada last time out, if he looks across the river here, he can also see those are in Canada. Through the Goodyear Tunnel.
Very tightly packed, the first 3 and the second 3, they are racing all together.
We also have a report now that David Yunt is out of the race. Apparently he and Jules Bouchard got together. Now look at this. Jakes looks like he's going to go for it up the inside. Is he going to get it done? Yes, he is. Into the first turn. He takes Tim Hilla for fourth place. Very well done, and that's probably going to be one of the main overtaking points in the race. At the end of the first turn. It's actually more of an overtaking point in the IndyCar version of this track because the chicane's omitted prior to that. But that's getting a run out of that chicane is so critical for that reason. It's probably one of the few really good overtaking spots.
Hilla needs to be today very careful. Now all the weight of the Lotus Hopes are on his shoulders.
Yeah, it's true.
And he needs to score there so as to help his team in the championship.
Looking a little further back here, here's Richard Coxon, who is going to be, actually it's funny, Richard Coxon and Anders Nilsson are teammates here in F186. They're going to be teammates in the Indy 500 driving for JC Agajanian and Grant King.
They will
Which
be
is going to be
driving
interesting.
the same car also.
Yeah, a very unusual car, the Dragon.
Probably more unusual the fact that two teammates absolutely love each other and they get along so well.
Yeah, I know. That's kind of an odd situation I'm not used to. But here you see, Coxon just grazed the barrier there. He doesn't want to do that too many times in these cars.
One reason that it's very important is because even if you're not getting too big of a damage in the car, even if it's some scraping, you get the risk that your pit crew decides once you stop that they would be needing to make your car look excellent for the TV show for whatever reason, and then you're stuck in the pits with long repairs if you forget to disable them.
There's the Renaissance Center. Yeah, Coxon is a fan of Detroit diners, or at least diners in general, and he's always telling me if he came to Detroit, he would want to go to the American or Lafayette, Coney Island, or both. And I'm like, dude, we'd go to both. Then you'd have to answer the age-old question, which is better? So yeah,
for once if he crosses the pond, he'll go to both.
Yep. So he is shadowing Dave Miller here. There's that 101 WRAF billboard. If Janik watches this later, he'll appreciate that. But all of these advertisements, too, are period correct 86. Because if you look at the 88 build, it was Anychem all over the place, which wasn't here in 86. Lots of Stroh's billboards. All right, so look who's joining the fray here. Grant Riddall is starting to assert himself after he got around Brian Janik. So potential that he could move back up the order here. That's really disappointing for him to start in the front row and then slip back in just one lap, several positions. But, oh, look at this. Coxon having a look here at Dave Miller. Gives him a look, but I don't think he had enough room there to do it.
No, it seems that everybody is right now very much aware of the dangers of this track, and they are taking it easy in general. Because they don't see the car in front like moving away and they get antsy or anxious because of losing contact with the other car. Things are going very steadily here. You have very definite groups of cars fighting together on the same pace. And since that's how it goes, I think that everybody is like waiting for more for the error on the part of the other driver than really trying to force the situation here.
Yeah, other people's problems, definitely part of the strategy here. As we're riding with Juha Boss now, who is closing in on Tim Hill, the lone hope of the Lotus team at this point. Or I'm sorry, the John Player Special Team Lotus.
Yeah, they are losing contact a bit with David Jakes, and probably that's what's getting Juha a bit more like on the move, because he doesn't want to lose contact there.
Now into Congress Street. We were checking Richard Coxon's notes about the race prior to this, and tires, he does the kind of the blanket statement of that any tire can really finish the race, which is true, but the problem is varying levels of performance. If you use the softest tire here, you're probably not going to be very competitive. You'll just go off a cliff in terms of competition. Yeah. So, but definitely fuel's not a concern. Brake wear, according to Richard, is probably going to be between medium and heavy. So definitely something to keep in mind.
Yeah, I see the Ferraris are on the green compounds, on the yellow and green, I think, super softs and softs.
Yeah.
So they are certainly not worried about the wear. And we'll see if we get here one stop or more, or no stops. It depends. It would have been interesting to see what Wilkes would have done, because he's always very savvy here when it comes to planning the race.
One thing to keep in mind here with the Ferrari in race trim, according to Richard, is putting out 925 horsepower.
Whoop, and look what happened there. Coxon
What happened?
got held up a bit by Miller. Coxon was getting antsy, and then at some point he basically nearly botched it against Dave Miller on the rear. And just as he lost momentum for the acceleration, Grant Vidal, who was very much on top of him, he got through.
Oh, yep, there it is. Yep. Grant got through, and it totally was a situation of him being balked. You're right.
Yeah, this is I think what everybody's waiting for. They're very much focused on the car in front.
Mm-hmm. Well, what I was getting at in Richard's notes was that the Ferraris are putting out 925 horsepower. The Lotus only puts out 904 by comparison. But the difference there is that they can crank up the boost, and that makes a huge difference for them performance-wise. I think it's fair to say that that's a good chunk of what's keeping Vadim in first right now, besides just driving talent, which I don't want to...
In any case, as we have mentioned already, having a lot of horsepower is not really what matters most in this track, because what's good, so much horsepower if you cannot even put it on the ground.
Yeah, power is nothing without control.
Yep.
That's for certain, especially on a track like this. And, you know, as difficult as this circuit is, it's easy to forget that these guys have it made compared to the people who actually drove the circuit. Many times, you would start the race with the track in reasonably okay shape by Detroit standards, and then by the end it'd just be a disaster because the track was coming apart. So nobody's going to have to deal with that today.
Yeah, these cars must be fighting very hard into the tarmac.
Oh, look at this. Grant Riddall on the outside of Dave Miller. And there he goes, sweeping around the outside into 7th place. So Grant very much on the move. Doesn't appear that he incurred any damage in his abysmal first lap.
No, and it's a shame that he was basically held off, because he would have been probably also one of the contenders. But we'll see. There is still a lot of race.
There's still a long way to go. I mean, he's 7th.
Charger, so.
Yeah, next target for him is Tim Hilla, who's got a little bit of distance between himself and Juha
For
Boss.
drivers with a lot of talent and aggressive enough, this kind of circuit is a blessing, because as we have said, it's a big leveler, thanks to the ability of the driver being paramount here, not so much the power. And it's like I said, if things go properly for them, those are the guys to watch, that's for sure. Vadim Tasiak, Grant Riddall, Gabriele Del Piccolo.
Okay, this is interesting. The front three are now lapping Tomas Matusek. Actually, Tomas gets out of the way really brilliantly, so there's no problem whatsoever. But these three are running together. Gabriel looks like he's closing in on Nilsson here and there, so I don't know. He might actually. He's having a look here at the pump house turn, but decides not to do anything. exiting the pump house turn and now heading towards the chicane, which is a lot faster than you might think. Now heading down towards the first turn, crossing the start-finish line, waving hi to Chris Economaki, and now into turn number 1. Lots of Merkur XR4 Ti advertisements here, Alberto, because that was a car.
Yellow flag.
Oh, yellow flag. What is this?
Nah, it went out, but there's a car.
Oh, there is a car just ahead with no. Oh my goodness! This is. Oh no! It's. It looked like it was. Was that one of the Brabhams?
Yeah, that's K.O. McKeel's.
It was K.O. McKeel's. Actually, it's really interesting that that accident happened there. That is the same corner where in 1991, Mario and Michael Andretti ran into the pace truck, or the safety truck, and it's a blind corner, and you can't see what's around it. I would gather that that's what caused an issue here, similar to this, because these cars came around the corner, and poor Vadim just managed to avoid it. But K.O. McKeel's. And look at that. It looks like that gave Nilsson the impetus to get into the lead, and it did. Nilsson is now in front, and that's largely due to that incident. That it just caused Vadim to check up a little bit, and now Nilsson's in front.
Finally abandoned the race, and I think that was the wiser call.
Yeah, I mean...
Anders is now in the lead. In all these
yes, he is. Yes. Anders slipped by. Anders slipped by in that confusion and was able to take the lead. But also, it didn't appear anybody got any serious damage out of that. Vadim is still in second place. Del Piccolo in third. David Jakes in fourth.
He was held up a bit by a lap car.
A little bit. But you could see there how that corner was blind. And that was the case in 1991 where the two Andrettis ran into the safety truck that was parked there, retrieving none other than Dennis Vitolo's car. And they turned the corner, and there was the truck, and there was nowhere to go, and they didn't even see it. So I would wager that Vadim didn't see anything until he had started to turn into the corner. But in any case, nobody out of the race in that case except for the injured car that started.
And watch out, because we have now an interesting situation, and that's we had before the three leading cars very close together. So we were not really aware of the real pace that some of the drivers had. But now that Anders is in front, we will see what his real pace is. We will see if Vadim was holding them up, and also if Gabriele can make contact back with them, which means that he has again also some seconds up his lead.
Look at this. Juha going up the inside of David Jakes by the people mover, and it doesn't happen for him. But look at this, now going down
on the outside.
On the outside, going into Millender Center. Fantastic. Fantastic pass. Great job by Juha. He's up to fourth in a car that, quite frankly, I wouldn't think would be very comfortable around here. Although a variant of this car did win the first Detroit Grand Prix in 1982.
I bet Jakes wasn't expecting that one.
No, I do not believe he was.
Foxon is now past Miller. Boy! Bouchard makes a very aggressive move. Hits Miller in the sidewalk. Although fortunately didn't take him out. And man, what a traffic jam has that caused now behind him.
Let's see what happens here. This is the replay. Coxon having a very close moment with Miller. Oh, Bouchard grazing the wall there. Let's see what happens here. Yeah, it looks like Bouchard was trying to take advantage of the cars in front of him being checked up. He goes up the inside of Miller. Miller turns right in. Oh my goodness. And he either didn't see Jules there at all or thought he had the corner. My goodness.
He was probably focusing on Richard Coxon.
Probably, yeah. But at least Bouchard was able to keep going.
Bouchard who had a rather good race until then, because look how much distance he had opened between him and Brian Janik and John Dean, who are no slouch at driving.
So Vadim is closing back up again on Anders here. So the errant car of K.O. McKeel's was only a brief interruption. It looks like we're going to see more action here between these two. Again, Nilsson leads the championship by only 2 points, but with Richard Wilkes being out of the race, that means that Nilsson has a chance of expanding his lead considerably. Now down to Cobo Hall.
Yes, but look at that. I mean, Vadim is right behind him, so it doesn't seem as if he had... I mean, if Nilsson was not passing Vadim, that's probably also because he had a much more pace than that. The question is if Vadim can go much quicker now to recover that position, or if it's going to be the waiting game to see if Nilsson makes an error.
We have late word from the garage area. K.O. McHeels officially hates this track. You and many other people, K.O. You'll find yourself in good company there. My advice to you is to have a Strohs.
Well, if you get a crash in this race, you better crash earlier instead of suffering all the pain.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, Wilkes, the first car out of the race. Unbelievable. And I'm sure he's just really seething somewhere. Grant now is up to 6th place and challenging David Jakes. This ought to be good.
And Gabriele still seems at the same distance from Vadim, unable to catch up with them. And I saw him some laps before when he was like trying to push it to get in contact again, and he was cleansing the wall at some point, so I think he thought better of it and basically back up.
Oh, look at this. Grant is definitely sizing up David Jakes. They've got Juha not far away from them either, so this is going to be a very interesting battle here.
Well, there you go.
There he goes. Grant pops out.
Coming out.
Yep, down through Millender Center, and he overlaps before they even get to Woodward. Fantastic.
And I would say, look, David Jakes is an old fox, and he saw it coming. He saw Grant and knows he's a very aggressive driver, and I think that David Jakes basically thinks that, well, he lets him run and says, I'll catch you up later in the race. No need to start a stupid fight now and lose the train. Because that looked to me even way too easy. Even if Grant is very talented, that overtaking, it looked to me as if Jakes really let him do that.
Well, the Benetton compared to the Ligier, the Ligier is making 904 horsepower, the Benetton only 884 with that BMW engine. So, but yeah, I think you're right. I think Jakes let discretion be the better part of valor there and just said, okay, I'll get you later. Which brings up the question about Dave Miller out of the race. Dave Miller out of the race. How did this happen? My goodness. Replay. He's coming down to Cobo Hall. Let's see what happens here. Goes down into the lower section that leads you onto the riverfront. He spun out just before. Oh my goodness! He spun out just before the Detroit Princess and took off both his front wings. And he's like, both his wings, and he goes, "That's it. I'm done." He probably could have taken it back to the pits and fixed the car, but I don't know. I guess he just wasn't interested in doing that, which is too bad.
We're seeing how unforgiving these barriers are. I mean, the track is not that narrow, and that might give a false sense of security, but the truth is that at the end of that wide track section, there is a very hard barrier.
Next target for Grant Riddall, who is absolutely on the move, is Juha Boss. As you can see, there are more lapped cars just ahead here, so they may play a role here unwittingly in exchange of positions. Yeah, it's
Vadim now also very close to Anders Nilsson, but I think not willing to overtake. I think that he's happy now to be in this situation. But any error on the part of Anders, and you bet that Vadim will be in front again.
Miller is pointing out to us that his engine and rear wheel was also gone, and there was graphic confirmation as we came around the second time. You could see a wheel sitting there. So yeah, absolutely, it was more than just wings. But very, very sad to see you retire there, Dave. Luciano Rocha is on the outside there making room as they head into turn one. Very well done. So Grant is looking for a way around Juha Boss. Trying to get back towards the front. Heading up the hill here. On to Woodbridge. It definitely looks like, obviously, Grant's turned the boost up and he's pushing the car as hard as he can. Question is, what's that going to do to his tires down the line? Look at how close they're coming to the barriers, Alberto.
Yeah, I told you. I mean, if you want to be quick here, you need to use every inch of the track. So there's no room for error. And we've seen it. I think that nearly all the situations we have seen, 99% of them, where there has been some kind of driving error or whatever, have ended in tears. And Juha Boss is catching up with Gabriele Del Piccolo and taking Grand Vidal with him, which means that Gabriele is going to find himself in a very unpleasant situation soon enough.
Yeah, he will. Question has been asked about John Team. Has his car found its way onto four wheels once again? And the answer, it appears, is yes. We've seen his car on screen a number of times, including in the warm-up, and we do not see it doing any of the acrobatics we saw in Canada. Unfortunately, that means he'll have to change two sets of tires, one on one side, one on the other. So, any time he could have saved in the pits is gone. But you've got the Haas entries here running 8th and 9th, respectively.
Stasiak is on the lead again.
Oh my goodness, there it is. Let's take a look at the replay. Yeah, I guess he just overtook him exiting the chicane, and on the main straight, here it is. Cranks up the boost, goes to the inside. Vadim Stasiak takes the lead in his Tyrrell into turn one. It looked like a pretty boost-related pass to me.
Yeah, probably so.
Mm-hmm.
Anders saw it coming also and cooperated there.
Mm-hmm.
Made it very wide at the entrance. Probably thinks he can follow easily Vadim, and then they can discuss who is going to win more toward the end of the race. And I can see why Vadim had been willing to pass, because look at that, Gabriele Del Piccolo is now closer than ever to Anders Nilsson that he has been in the last lap. So it's no wonder that Vadim got anxious.
Yeah, he doesn't want to. He's got a situation where he knows that third place is coming, and he doesn't want to be there when he gets there. So he'd rather have Anders run interference for him. Meanwhile, this battle here between Del Piccolo and Boss definitely closing up. Heading down to the tunnel once again. Juha closing in. I don't know, Juha might be sizing him up here for a pass on the riverfront. We'll see. Into the pump house turn. Right, left. Juha gets very good purchase now. It's all going to be all about how he gets through the chicane. Looks like Del Piccolo had a better chicane exit. Yeah, look at him rocking away there. So yeah, it really, a huge amount of it depends on how you get out of that chicane. If you can use...
I'm watching how Del Piccolo is driving, and he's shifting like absolutely like a robot, dead on at 11,000 RPM, which means he's taking good care of the engine. And that's a bit of the problem with this BMW engine. It's very powerful, but as long as you keep it in the power band, which is
goodness, that's interesting. Gabrielle seemed to just back off there. I don't know what that was about. And now Grant is on all over his tail. So Grant looks like he's going to overtake, and he does. So Del Piccolo loses 2 positions there. I don't know what that was about, but he seemed to give those up without much of a fight. What do you think happened there?
Like, I think he's driving very carefully, and I think that he's worried about not being able to finish and keeping. He's very much concentrated, focused on nursing the engine. So he probably thinks that if towards the end of the race he sees that the engine is working well, he will probably try to fight it then. Or maybe he's on a different strategy. Could be he has not planned any stop. If I remember correctly, that's something he did already in the Formula 191. He surprised us with his strategy.
Yeah, look at Grant now. He's right with Juha. So we could see Grant. This is incredible. Grant started the race on the front row, dropped all the way down. Yeah, look at him. There he goes up the ins. Well, he doesn't have enough room there, but you can bet he's going to make another try here in a second. Grant started second in the race, dropped all the way down to 10th, maybe 11th, and then began a charge up through the field, and now is currently 4th, soon to be 3rd if this continues.
So yeah, I'm trying to determine by looking at the slow motion cameras what tires is Del Piccolo running, and I cannot see it, but it seems to be, I think I've seen a bit of a bluish or whitish color there, which means he could be on the hard tires, or medium or hard tires, and if that's the case, then he's going for no stops. Could be the reason why he is not really making much of an opposition, because he knows he has an advantage of about 30 seconds of the pit stop.
Yellow flags in this area, and there is a West Zaxpeed wing there, so that can be one of two people. It looks like Asserclinth it is. Johnny Aces has lost his rear wing, my goodness. So he is struggling back to the pits. That is really too bad. Sorry, Jonathan.
And there is also now a very intense team mate battle in the Haas team, where John T just overtakes Bouchard due to an error coming out of one of the corners. Brian Janik right behind them, as well as Adam Hackman, who is keeping the flag for the Williams team in this race. Ruben Fernandez in 12th position with that Osella, which is very interesting. Tim Hille down to 13th
Oh,
position.
look, here comes Grant. And Grant goes right by into 4th place just before the pump house turn. I'm sorry, 3rd place. Juha drops to 4th.
Oops. Jonathan with a Formula 3 looking car.
Yeah, he's heading to the pits. Yeah, he's heading to the pits. He's lost his wing.
This is again a very risky situation, especially here in this closed tunnel. Fortunately, he's out of it.
Oh, here comes Matusik. Grant going for the outside, but I don't think Matusik expect him to go there. But now look at this. Juha might have a chance here, heading up the hill. No. But yeah, definitely Juha isn't giving up here. He wants to try to get that 3rd place back from Grant. Difficult section through here. And as
And
Juha,
David Sauber is also out of the race.
oh, man.
I'm not catching it in the replay anymore, but I've seen it as Jonathan entered the pits.
Man.
So Vadim in the lead, opening a bit of a gap here.
Yeah, Anders still in 2nd, overtaking a couple of lapped cars. Grant Riddall in 3rd, Juha in 4th, Del Piccolo 5th, David Jakes in 6th, Richard Cox in 7th. There doesn't seem to be much of a battle there right now. But yeah, team is now in 8th place and Bouchard in 9th. So it's a good day so far for the Team Haas entries. And bear in mind, gentlemen, that their headquarters right there. I mean, because Ford is the main tenant of the Renaissance Center at this moment. So they're right in their.
And one important thing we seem to have missed at some point, David Jaxisa did not finish.
That must have just happened. Hang on a minute, because I saw him and he was rolling before. Let's have a look at a replay. He's coming down to the Municipal Center on Larned Street, and he misses the turn entirely and hits the barrier right in front of the Spirit of Detroit statue. Let's look at that one more time. Yeah, it looks like he just the front's just locked up and he just went clear in. That's too bad. And he was like, forget this, I'm out of here. I'm suspecting that some people are, and we can see Jonathan Asserclinth in the pits getting repairs. That's obviously going to take a while. I suspect some people are quitting simply because they're not having fun on this track. What do you think?
I don't know. I mean, points are going to be cheap here.
Yeah, they are.
Today. So, I don't think none of our drivers has that kind of mentality.
There was part of me that was relieved to be out of the Mosport race for USAC because I was not having fun.
Yeah, but it's not as if you're looking for that.
No, you know, points are points. So.
That's true.
So yeah, Grant is ensconced in 3rd pretty much solidly now, and Juha looking to try to stay in contact with him. Nilsson losing a little bit of ground here to Vadim. I think maybe Nilsson is thinking to himself, maybe the smarter thing to do is just hang back for a bit, because one thing Vadim has not been able to do is in a race yet really is to match his qualifying performance. So he might be thinking that at some point another opportunity will present itself. We'll see.
I'll tell you something. I'm watching him drive, and I'm thinking that he's going too high on the RPMs. He's hitting the limiter at some points. And that could be quite dangerous towards the end of the race. We will see.
Well, we'll see.
I just hope not. But that distance that he made between Anders and him, when I see him driving and hitting over 12,000 RPMs, that's the explanation for it. And it could very well end in tears.
Looking at Ruben Fernandez now, he's in 11th place in the Acela, and he's had several good performances so far this year. None that have netted him points, but definitely he's been one to watch in this series just because he's able to do a lot with very little. Before it was with the AGS, and now he's driving for the Osella Squadra Course team. And I think it's fair to say that Osella has no business being in the top 10. Which
normally it wouldn't.
Normally it would not, but we'll see what happens here. He's in 11th right now. Hill is all the way down in 12th, so not the best of days for the Lotus team, obviously. Their team leader of Wilkes out of the race. Chacon is in 13th place. He had a fantastic run last time out, and he's about to get lapped by the leader now. Chacon finishing in 5th place in Montreal, which is an incredible result.
Yeah, he's always there driving steadily, so if there are other people problems, as you say, then you know that there is always Bruno to capitalize from that.
Yep, and also a Brazilian in this race, Bruno Pagiola, is soldiering on in 14th place. And like you say, this is going to be a race of attrition. Points may be cheap, so we'll see what happens in the end here. And your son in 15th place, Jolly Club AGS.
Yep, there he is.
I'm
Taking
sure he's
good care
looking.
of the equipment.
I'm sure that he's thinking about the joy he's going to have running the Interscope car at Indy in a week's time, because that car historically sat in the middle of the front row. So he's
well, this year little Al didn't want to run Formula One because he said it was too demanding to run the whole season, and he preferred to focus on USAC because he knew he was going to have a lot of work at school. But he wanted to have a ride in Formula One at some point, and it seems that this was the situation when there was a bit of a break in his exams and the pressure from school, and that's why he grabbed the car. But I think it's been in one of the most complicated Grand Prix, probably.
Yes, he couldn't have picked. I think if you talk to drivers of this era, they'll tell you that this was the most difficult track they ran at on the calendar. More difficult than even Brazil in like the 120 degrees heat. Because you just don't have anywhere to rest on this circuit at all. You're just constantly working. I remember one instance where Eddie Cheever finished 3rd in an IndyCar race, I believe, at Detroit. And right after he gets out of the car, he takes his glove off and shows...
There is a big accident. That's
Oh,
Adam
no.
Hackman.
Adam Hackman?
Yep.
Shoot, my teammate. What happened?
He hit the barrier backwards. I don't know what happened.
All right.
Probably lost it
Here,
on the braking.
let's
at
have a
some point.
replay coming into... He's coming up the hill to Woodbridge here. My guess is he just drove into a barrier. We'll see. As he continues on here, it's probably going to be up here at the Chrysler Service Drive, which is one of the
rear.
Oh man, yeah. The back end. Yeah, he ran into the tire barriers right at the freeway.
It
Yeah,
was a nasty hit.
yeah. I mean, it's easy to do that there, and it's amazing. There's lots of room there, and even then, it's still easy to do. Well, that's unfortunate. Both Williams out of the race. That's too bad. But Adam and I are working very hard on our Indy setups, and all I have to say is for qualifying day next week, be afraid, be very afraid. So, all right. But what I was saying about Cheever driving this track, IndyCars, after he was finished one race, he got out of the car, took his glove off, his right glove, and showed his hand to whoever the pit reporter was, and he had this massive blister in the middle of his palm of his hand. And then he quips, like without missing a beat, he says, "I've got one on my butt that's even worse." So this track is incredibly rough on the car and the body and the brain, no question about it. So Hackman out, Jake's out, and we're not even. We still got 40 laps to go in this race, so it's still early days. Janik now has been elevated to 9th with these retirements, and as we've mentioned, this is his hometown race. So certainly a track that he wants to do well at, but I would wager that this is not a track that this car is very good at, based on its wheelbase. But we've seen Brian do well at other races where we thought that the Brabham would not be suited to. So who knows? Maybe he's going to finish in the points today.
And Vadim keeps opening the gap with Anders Nilsson, and he also keeps hitting the revs up to 12,000. So we'll see how this ends.
Do you think he's conscious of the fact that he's doing that? Or is he just so laser focused on the drive that it's not even on his mind?
It's hard to tell, because one of the most complicated things you have to do as a driver, and you know it as well as me, is to change the rhythm. I mean, there is a rhythm that you feel comfortable with when you're driving, and if you have to suddenly go up or go down, everything changes, like the point where you have to shift and all that. So I'm not sure. Maybe he's too focused right now in the driving. But in any case, what I'm seeing here in the tachometer of the car when I'm going inside driving with him, I'm not liking what I see. So
all right, well, I don't know. We'll see what happens there. But yeah, he's opened up an almost 3.7 second gap now about between himself and Anders. Grant in third, Juha fourth, Del Piccolo fifth, Cox in sixth.
There is a big contrast when you see how Del Piccolo is driving. He's perfectly hitting the mark of the 11,000 RPM and not going beyond it. He's paying the price because the Benetton is obviously not moving that much in this situation, even if he's against hulking Juha Boss. But he's going to probably reap the benefits in the form of reliability towards the end of the race.
I wonder, for comparison, how Grant is doing with his revs.
He's going up to 12,000 also.
Oh boy! And there
Yeah,
are Renault signs all over the place here. So Renault.
I think, yeah, Grant probably would have been a great driver in the spirit of what Dan Gurney wanted, in that it's either finish or be out, but never mediocre results.
Yeah, well, we'll see what happens. We're gonna have to wait a while to find out. Here's Del Piccolo and Boss engaged in a battle here as they head onto Woodbridge. So I don't know, maybe Juha had a mistake or something, but
Yeah, the tires maybe are playing a role.
tires may be starting to play a role here. Heading up to Beaubien. Left, right onto Larned under Millender Center.
And Jules Bouchard without the rear wing.
Oh,
signaling
no!
for repairs. It's a situation that has been for some time already. I cannot catch it in the
Yeah,
replays.
it's happened a while ago, but he's heading into the pits now. That's bad news, of course, for the Haas team, American F1 team, their home race.
There he is in the pits now.
Well, yeah, he's probably going to be there for a while. He's had an eventful race so far. He's been caught up in 2 incidents that we know about so far. So, I mean, it's going to be interesting to see how much repair they can do in that pit stop. They may not be able to do enough to make it drivable. Janik up to 8th place now with that situation. Team is still in 7th place. Cox in 6th. Gabriel is 5th. Looks like Rocha. No, he's just making room for these two. But Gabriel's backed off a little bit here. Grant pretty much running by himself here, and Nilsson is keeping Vadim in his sights. He's not letting him get too far away.
Not too far away, no. But I think it's Nilsson who is basically playing the rubber band, because Vadim is focused on his own pace. And I think that the situation when he lost the lead before, it was pure coincidence because Nilsson saw the opportunity. But then because Nilsson was backing up, because he's a very clever driver and is always thinking of the race finish, in that situation, Vadim basically was not happy, not comfortable, seeing how Grant was catching up and not following his own rhythm. And that's what he passed Anders, because it seems that for Vadim it's all out or nothing. So he needs to be on that rhythm, or probably lose his focus.
All right, well, while we have a minute, let's look at what the trivia question is. We'll answer it later on. But the trivia question is, which former Formula One driver scored 2 podium finishes on the downtown Detroit circuit, one in Formula One and the other in Indy cars? Is it A, Stefan Johansson, B, Teo Fabi, or C, Eddie Cheever? We'll have the answer later on in the broadcast. Now, pit stops. When and who do you think will be the first to go in? I guess it depends on how much fuel you've been using, but
we are now in lap 26.
Tires,
so
yeah.
Whatever pit stops we see is going to be only one, and they should be around lap 31, 32, something like that.
So not far away.
Not far away, no. Nobody has been in the pits yet, and I'm really curious to see what Gabriele does, because I think that he's on a hard compound and maybe trying not to stop in the whole race. That could be an interesting situation here.
We got a variety of opinions on that trivia question. I thought it was a very interesting one because those three drivers are former F1 and IndyCar drivers, so you can't answer the question based on who was in what series. You have to think about results. So we'll see. What people pick when we come back by the trivia question later on. Gabrielle still hanging in there with Juha.
Yeah, and they are only 16 seconds behind, I think, or I don't know if these times are added, but +2, +5, +15. But I mean, I want to see what happens when Vadim goes into the pits for his stop.
Yeah, we've mentioned before that there is a variable in there of there's a little bit of slot between fast and slow pit stops as far as the human element. So even if someone
there's also
Hilla
Little Al in the barriers now.
Oh no, and Hilla's out of the race. Let's see what happened to Tim Hilla here. Tim Hilla was in the pits, actually.
No. Little Al did not crash. He just missed the braking point, but he was able to return to the track with no problems.
That's strange. Tim Hilla was in the pits making his normal pit stop, it appeared, and then quit out. So I don't know if that's a disconnection or what, but Lotus is now effectively out of the race. We have both Lotai out of the race, both Williams out of the race. So not a good day for either of those teams. But they're going to have good company in the garage, I'm sure, because this is a grueling race for everybody. Del Piccolo still right with Juha. So we'll have to keep an eye on the pit lane entrance and see who comes in first. Vadim is going for another lap. So is Anders. So is Grant.
Nobody there is signaling pits, so I guess we're going to see them go a bit more.
Yep, definitely. That looks to be the case.
And all this situation puts Ruben Fernandez in 9th with the Osella. Let's see if the engine holds up, because he's also a fan of the high part of the tachometer.
Yeah, it's possible that might be a problem later too. But Janik in 8th, John Team in 7th, so all is not doom and gloom for the Haas team. We'll see if they can salvage a points finish here before the day is over. On 4 wheels for once.
Gabriel is still close to Juha Boss, but not really in striking distance.
No, not
just
really.
Waiting for an error.
He's kind of taking a breather right now. He probably knows that the pit stops are coming up soon, so he's probably thinking he's going to take a breather. Although here we go, Matusik getting out of the way for them. Bouchard, who has exited the pits.
No indication of pit stop so far, so that's interesting. But yeah, I would expect them to go 1 or 2 more laps, or maybe even more.
Starting lap number 30 here. Yep, looks like everybody's going around one more time.
Coxon is signaling pits.
Okay, well there's our first potential stop. Coxon now onto Jefferson Avenue.
Which is no wonder because he's usually been on the same strategy as Anders Nilsson, but for whatever reason he seems to be harder on the tires than his teammate.
Well, I mean, that's usually the case in a lot of teams. There's always one guy that's hard on tires. Remember when Berger and Senna were both in McLaren, and McLaren mechanics were all too familiar how hard Gerhard Berger was on tires. So they had to think about that when they were working on the setups. We're also showing Drexler out of the race now, unfortunately, in the Osella. All right, so Coxon now
is also signaling pits.
Coxon heads for the pits. So let's have a look at and see what tires he was on. He was on the C compounds.
Softs.
Yeah, the softs. So let's see what he goes to now. It appears that he's going to be staying on that compound, softs.
Yeah. Softs for him.
Yellow chalk with a C. I love that we have that feature in this mod. And there he goes.
Just barely behind John Tim.
Goes by Chris Economaki.
Although John Tim is on very soft compounds, I can see that in the front wheels that are a bit shiny. That's the super soft compound.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't think that that John Tim is able to do the whole race like that.
No, Del Piccolo right back up with Juha now.
Yeah, if he senses that the pit stops are coming. Okay, Grant Ridal, who is signaling the pits.
All right.
Let's see if he goes and what. There he goes.
Yep, here he goes. Grant into the pits. Stops.
He
was
on
running
mediums.
Mediums, yeah.
Yeah, he was on mediums, and he keeps with the same compound.
Same compound. All right, interesting.
Juha was also signaling pits now.
Okay.
He's in the pits, actually. And it's also...
Yep, there he is.
No, it's softs on the rear and mediums on the front for him. Well, it's no wonder, because with a more understeery car, he's probably dragging the front wheels across the tarmac much more. And Coxon is now trying to recover the 6th position, the points paying one from John Tim, who is in front. But Coxon is coming very quick on new tires, whereas in the case of John Tim, he's even glancing the barriers. He's on very warm tires. It wouldn't surprise me if he's... Yeah, there he goes. He's not going to push...
Gabriel signaling pits now.
So John Tim basically let Coxon go by and recover the position, because he knew that he was not in a situation to be able to fight. Vadim Tasiak, our leader, is now signaling the pits also.
Okay, so Tyrrell team expecting their lone car that's left, their leader and pole sitter, Vadim Tasiak. Will Vadim be able to get his first ISO win, and on the mean streets of Detroit, no less? His speed as of late has been fantastic. It's funny how sometimes people just gel with a particular mod. Here comes Vadim into the pits, and Nilsson will continue. Nilsson goes into the lead.
Okay,
And
medium compound for
B's.
Vadim.
Yeah.
And he stays on it.
All right.
And Gabriele now also into the pits. So he was not on a longer strategy, on a no-stop strategy.
Yep, there goes Gabriel. Oh my goodness, there's this almost a collision there as the two of them were
Mediums
coming.
and softs in front for Gabriele. So that's a bit more aggressive.
Yep. Our friend Chris Economaki at the end of the pit lane, watching everything.
And this is a long pit stop for Gabriele.
Yeah, it is. Vadim exits the pits in second, so it's pretty good considering how close everybody was up there.
It was a quick pit stop in the case of the Tyrrell. We know that this is quite random in this mode because back in the 80s the trims were not so well drilled.
Yes.
Sometimes they were good, sometimes they were not so good, and even the same team was very variable at the pit stops. Nilsson is signaling pits now. This is very important now. Let's see what happens when he comes out of the pits.
Yeah, very important.
And also important to know what kind of compound he has, because that could give us a clue about whether he's going to be able or not to fight it with Vadim.
The gap is 22 seconds now between himself and Vadim, so keep that in mind.
Yeah, it's barely enough for...
Yeah, it's going to be Oh, look at him, nearly losing the back end as he comes in. He's very conscious of the fact
he
that
knows
the
the importance of this.
he knows that he has to do well here. So what does he have? C's. Up goes the car, and he's staying on C's. So people are staying with the compounds that they started on.
And it's important because being on a softer compound, oh, that was a brilliant pit stop. Well done by the Ferrari team.
And
this
looking
might
for a...
be- Yes, this earns him the lead. Look at that.
Yeah, you can see there's Vadim way back there, so he stays in the lead.
Things are looking really good now for Van der because he's on a softer compound than Vadim, and he's in the lead even by 2 or 3 seconds.
Yeah, it's incredible. There you see the gap between first and second. It's about 5 seconds after the pit stops are completed, and Grant is in third place.
And not that far away from Vadim.
So, I mean, here we are, right back where we started, basically. I mean, Vadim obviously was in the lead, but we have the same 3 guys up front here. So basically now it's down to this grouping. We'll see how they do.
And not having to be concerned by the fuel, this is going to be fun.
Yes, it is.
Whoever wins the race today surely is going to have earned it very well.
Yes.
Vadim coming to a yellow flag section. There's Jonathan
somebody...
Afterklint who is reversing into the track.
Oh my goodness. Yeah,
he had missed the braking point.
Yeah, he's coming around trying to rejoin there. He's rejoined now, thankfully, so...
Yannick in the pits. Detroit Demon going with mediums all around.
Brian Janik making his lone stop, I'm sure.
Little
There
Al
he
is also
goes.
in the pits now for tires. Softs on the front for him.
Rocha also exiting the pits now.
Yellow flag coming out.
Yeah, that's weird. I don't know what that's about.
Oh, if they join too slow, maybe that's the...
Oh my goodness! Ruben Fernandez out of the race with a barbecue or carbecue, as the
Okay.
case may be. So that might be why there was a...
Yeah, well, we were already warning about it. He was hitting more than 12,000 RPM at some points. And that's the complicated thing, because Vadim has been doing it also, so we will see.
And watch, we'll get called for broadcaster jinx, even though it's them doing the over-revving and not us doing voodoo. Of course, we get the blame for everything. Look at how much people are like running off of the Chrysler service drive there and onto Congress. It's a very delicate dance you do there because you have extra room to play with, but that wall comes up very fast.
Now Vadim is coming to a section where there is a lot of traffic. Needs to be careful negotiating it, but Grant Ridal is using that to his advantage to get closer.
Indeed.
Vadim held out.
Yeah, now he's bottled up behind Rocha, which is not good. He wants to.
Rocha is doing his best, but
he's doing his best.
That's
Yeah.
the narrowest section, and with completely all the time swinging between left and right turns.
Well, that's too bad about Ruben Fernandez, but yeah, you called it the over-revving. It's and we'll have to keep a close eye on Vadim and Grant as we get closer to the end here.
Yeah, well, if Vadim was over-driving the car, I can imagine that now with Anders Nilsson on site and knowing there is no other pit stop, he knows that whatever he wants to do, he has to do it on the track, and he's coming very quickly to catch up with Anders Nilsson. Very quickly.
Oh yeah, you can see the gap is definitely closing down. It's 3 seconds and change now. It started out at 5 seconds when they exited the pits, so for sure he's closing.
He's really pushing it now, doing the best he can. And with the car getting lighter, I think that's going to benefit more the Tyrrell than the Ferrari. Look at that, he's eating the distance.
Yeah, 3.2.
Oh, but Grant is coming out, four-wheel drift out of the corner. I can see that in the back, so for Anders now, this is a really uncomfortable situation because he's being chased by a pack of hungry wolves.
Nilsson going around Janik there.
And I tell you something, if they get up to Anders Nilsson with the rhythm that they have, and they go past Anders Nilsson, and they are there towards the end of the race, things between Grant and Vadim are going to be volcanic towards the end of the race.
Oh, no question. Well, I can't wait. As we are past half distance in this race, definitely. Vadim looking for a way around Brian, gets shut off there going into the pump house turn.
Bit of a relief for Anders here.
Yeah, Anders is going to be able to stretch out a little bit here. Gap was 2 seconds prior to this, but it's going to go up now. Yeah, it's almost 2.5 now because Vadim just didn't have the space to overtake Janik back there. Up the hill on the Woodbridge. I think Vadim's going to try to get past Janik here, and he does. And he's lost a considerable amount of time here now. He's going to have to claw back 3
Let's
seconds.
See if that's the same for Grant Bridal now.
Grant's got the same problem now, but oh my goodness, he almost loses his front wing trying to overtake Janik. I'm sure he's not going to be happy about that.
There he goes.
There he gets by. Yeah. Nilsson calmly circulating in the front here. Gap is 3 seconds. Actually, now it's 2.5.
Little Lance in the pits again. That's
again?
Yes. Probably repairing something.
Yeah, he's in there. He's 11th right now. I don't know. He's got some kind of repair going on.
Yeah, but the engine is still operating, and I don't think that's going to be good for the temperatures.
Of the 15 car, I'm sorry, of the 26 cars that started the race, there are 15 left running right now. The last place car right now is Johnny Ace's 3 laps adrift.
So, Vadim now with clean air in front, catching up very quickly with Anders Nilsson.
Yep.
Grant Vidal also behind him. Oof. It's amazing. The closure right is amazing. I mean, you would not think that Anders has been able to lead the race when you see how quickly Vadim is coming.
Well, Anders had himself placed in the lead earlier pretty solidly, and Vadim came back to take the lead again, and that was after the K.O. McKeel's incident by Woodbridge.
Yeah, and one thing you have to give to Anders that he's probably the Iceman in this field, because he's a guy who is absolutely doing his own race. No matter what happens in front of him, behind him, or whatever, he's just doing exactly the race at the utmost pace that he can get out of his car, and he's not going to let him be sucked into battles or whatever.
Gap is 2 seconds now.
Oof. Really hitting it high in the case of Vadim. If this Renault engine lasts the distance, that will give him a boost of confidence, because he's really punishing it.
Well, the next race for this series after Detroit is the French Grand Prix, which will be on May 30th to close out the month, and that's a very different prospect than this race. It's the shortened Le Castellet circuit, which will be very interesting with these cars. That's May 30th. We'll be broadcasting that one, obviously, but that's what's coming up for these cars in a few weeks' time.
Well, what's coming up is quite exciting in any way. So.
Oh yeah, well we'll have time to talk about that probably towards the end of the race. I want to focus on this right now because Vadim is going to be right up with him in a second here. Gap is now about 1.5 seconds. So the question is, will Nilsson respond?
No, I don't think so. I don't think he's going to put a fight, because he can see very well in the timetables how quick Vadim is. Obviously, he's not going to open the door necessarily.
This is a chance for Vadim here, because Nilsson gets bottled up behind Matusek loses a bit of time there. Well, not so much, but
very well done by Matusek here.
yeah,
he timed it perfectly well. Tacon in the pits now. Range in this moment. Not sure if it's repairs or if he had tried to do a 2-2 pit stop race.
Maybe.
Little Al is back on the track after those repairs or whatever. 13th position for him. Yeah, it's interesting. As we have said many times, getting there is one thing, overtaking is a very different one, and so it seems to be the case for Vadim, because he was very quick to catch up with Anders, but now he's hesitating a bit.
Well, he's probably just looking for the right spot to do it. I mean, because if you commit yourself to overtaking here, you want to make sure you can get it done. Because we've seen what happens when you commit yourself and you can't get it done. Some people have had collisions here, but here he's definitely... It's like a checker thing. He's trying to put his checker piece in the right spot.
Yeah, Anders is not going to be comfortable with this, because he's in the race for the championship, whereas Vadim is now on a race to produce a good result.
No, that is a great point, Alberto, because remember, his chief rival in the championship, Wilkes, out of the race on lap 1. So Nielsen really has no incentive to put up a fight versus Vadim, because even if he finishes second, he's bagging lots of points towards the championship. So yeah, I wonder if Vadim is thinking about that too as he's closing in here. Nielsen's not going to want to get rough with me, so I can probably force my way by.
Yeah, although he seems to have stalled at this point. I mean, the distance is there, but it doesn't grow any bigger.
We've just
I'm not
received...
sure if Vadim is happy to be on this rhythm, giving himself a bit of a break. But Grant is coming from behind, and Grant is certainly not going to have the same patience.
Yeah, we missed it, but Bouchard out of the race, apparently in a collision. So now we're down to 15 cars officially in the race.
And Luciano Rocha is without the front wing.
Oh boy. Oh, look at Vadim right with Nielsen now. Trying to overtake him on Congress. That's pretty aggressive. But here they are on Beaubien, now on Larned. Looks like he might be sizing him up here for a pass down by Woodward. Let's see. Yep, there he goes. Pops out. And new leader, Vadim Tasiak.
Yeah, but in the case of Anders, okay, he might not be willing to fight with Vadim, but now he's going to lose another position to Grant Ridal, and he's now already down to third.
Yeah.
And when you start factoring in, as we have mentioned before, the drop scores, well, I mean, if you have a lot of third positions, for example, in the podium, that gives you a lot of points. But once you have to pass on 3 of them because of the drop scores, then you might not look so bright in the championship.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, I know a lot of people.
Yeah, for Wilkes, for example, he has been winning races and then dropping the scores like this one where he doesn't score. That's not a big problem.
Exactly. Yeah.
Or dropping those, not where he did not score, but dropping those where he had not a stellar performance. It's interesting, though, that even if irregularity but aggressiveness is somehow rewarded by the points, in the end it was Alain Prost, who is a steady driver, who won this championship.
Yeah, the whole situation, yeah, favored smooth drivers, consistent drivers.
And Del Piccolo also all the time behind Juha Boss, and I'm betting that.
Oh boy! Anders just missed a shift, and look who goes right past into second place. It's Grant Ridal.
Yeah, Grant is not going to miss such an opportunity, that's for sure. And now Anders might be starting to wonder about what we were talking right now. Jason, whether it's really a wise thing to not put up a fight and be here again on third place.
Yeah, I know. On the other hand, there's a Portuguese driver in the pits watching this.
Well, look at that. He's getting antsy now.
Yeah, he is suddenly, but I'm sure that Wilkes is watching this now going, well, at least it's not 9 points. Maybe it's now 6 or 4, because that would definitely minimize the damage done to his championship hopes.
Yeah, and if it's a drop score at the end,
yes.
Not even that. So.
I hate the whole drop score thing and just needless mathematics. I understand why it's there. I understand why F1 wanted to do that, but man, does it make it makes life miserable for commentators, I have to say.
Yeah.
So Vadim pulling out an advantage now, 3 seconds on Grant Riddall. There's Nilsson as well. Juha Boss, quite a distance behind this group, but is in 4th place. Gabriel Del Piccolo's 5th, Cox in 6th. John Team in 7th place. My goodness, the gap back to Boss is huge.
It is just the rhythm that these guys at the top have is amazing. But, well, we've already mentioned it, that Vadim is certainly taking no prisoners at the top end of the tachometer, so we will see.
Well, we got about
20 laps, 22 laps to go. So.
20 laps roughly to go, so we'll see what happens here.
And Juha should not feel any comfortable at all towards the end of the race, because Gabriel Del Piccolo is there as his shadow all the time. Not attacking, not attempting any passing maneuver, but always there. So any slight error on the part of Juha and he might lose the position.
Well, he's bottled up behind Brian Janik right now. He's not.
Yeah, Brian is going to be an equalizer in this race.
Yeah, well, Brian's proved to not be easy to lap, but there he got by him pretty easily going into Woodward Avenue. But these two guys actually, the power plants are both BMW, but I believe the power figures on these two are different.
The factory one is the one in the Benetton.
Yeah, the Benetton has the factory BMW, according to Richard's stats, 884 for the brake horsepower, and then the Brabham's got 864. So there's a 20 horsepower difference there. I'm not good with mental math, but I know that 884 minus 864 is 20.
Vadim and Grant are now on a fight of his own. Still at a distance, but relentless pursuing by Grant. Not making Vadim's life any easier. Now that he's behind lap traffic, let's see what happens, because Grant is now, whoops, very much on his tail.
John Team making room for these two cars.
Very considerate of him.
Yeah, very.
Even if at a distance, he is on a fight with Brian Janik himself. Grant there even glancing the walls. Now very close to Vadim.
You can see Grant closing in now. We talked about the actual fortunes and misfortunes of Ligier in this race in 1986, how they led the race 1-2 for a bit, and then in the end it all came to nothing, pretty much. But I don't know, maybe we're looking at a Ligier win today, possibly. Also, Tyrrell won this race in 1983 in the hands of Michele Alboreto. So Tyrrell has some history in the Detroit Grand Prix as well. Up the hill. Yeah, the gap is coming down. So, yeah, I really wish I could be a fly in a wall in these cars and know where they stand with the revs and everything. My feeling is that when you're in the heat of the moment, you're just not focused on little stuff like that.
Well, the only thing I can tell you is that driving on board with them, I see Vadim at least every 3 gear shifts, especially on the low gears, he's hitting 12,500 or even the peak seems to be close to 13,000. And that's not good for the engine. But then again, so is Grant. I mean, they are fighting each other and they are taking no prisoners here. I mean, for them it's going to be the glory or everything vanishing up in a cloud of smoke. And Grant is now incredibly close. So it's no wonder that Vadim is trying to squeeze as much as he can out of that Renault engine. In any case, I think this is a race where Vadim has shown really his potential in race trim.
Yeah,
so
we've
far,
been...
Yeah, so far we only had qualifying performances for him, but oh, look at that.
Oh, whoa! Okay,
He
that
missed
was...
the shift, I think.
I think, yeah, it must have been what happened. It must have been. Grant goes into the lead. My goodness, that was kind of anticlimactic, but here's Vadim coming right back. So we have another leader in this race, a third different leader in the Detroit Grand Prix, in Grant Riddall. Oh! What's going on here? Grant just lets him right by again. That seemed rather conspicuous. What's going on?
No, not missing gear. I just watching the replay, and there was no missing gear from the part of Vadim.
We're getting question marks on the YouTube chat too, like, what was that?
Maybe they placed a bet.
Whatever, I don't know.
And they are fixing the race.
This is the ISO equivalent of WWE, perhaps. Oh, man. Well, definitely now it looks like they're back on, because Grant looks like he's sizing up Vadim at the end of the straight here. Now he's going to tuck in.
Lots
look
of
at
rubber there in the corners.
Yeah, Vadim really throwing the car around.
And Grant with his usual style, like a dog sniffing the dog in front's ass.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Ugh, easy guys, this could end very
Yeah,
bad
look
for you
out, look
both.
out. All right, here he goes. Grant pops out into turn one. Oh, no, I don't think so. Is he got inside? No, not really. No, Vadim holds him off. My goodness. And these guys are definitely like pushing it. They're right out by the wall at the end of every, at the exit of every turn. Dang. Now they got. Whoa. See, if you're not careful, you can run right up into the wall there. So Vadim. Oh, they're coming up on Little Al now to lap him. So it'd be interesting to see if. Oof,
powering out of the
yeah,
corner.
Grant just power sliding off of Beaubien onto Larned. Now onto Woodward and now into Jefferson. I'd be very nervous if I were a lapped car in this race, because you can be doing everything right and still getting someone's way.
Yeah, especially in this section. Going to become very tight now.
Oh, this is perfect. Little Al just moves to the left, lets them by, no problem whatsoever. Good job. And there's another car just ahead of these two. Sounded like a Renault to me. Let's see. Or no, it wasn't a Renault. It was a Minardi.
And they better solve this fight between them quick, because we need to have a look also at the one between Juha Boss and Gabriele, who is also getting antsy now, because we are not that far away from the end of the race. Juha now bottled behind his
Yeah, he's
teammate.
bottled behind his teammate, Chacon, who gets out of the way, but not before Juha glanced the barrier there. So, heading through the tunnel.
And Grant is in front. It happened at the end of the main street, I think. No,
Nope, it happened.
later.
Oh, actually, no, it happened at the end of Atwater.
Oh, but Vadim Tasiak was bottled behind Thomas Matusek. Thomas trying to move out of the way.
Yeah, it happened at Atwater, and I figured that was going to happen at some point. You know, Thomas Matusek's been doing a good job getting out of the way, but sometimes you just, if you get bottled behind somebody,
a misunderstanding there.
Bit of a just a slight miscommunication there. No one's fault. Just happens. You know, it's just a matter of when you arrive at a corner. I remember being in a race once on a final lap. I was a lapped car, and a guy was trying to get to the cars in front of him, and I moved over to let him by, and even still trying to move over, I somehow managed to get in the way. And after the race, he came on the chat and said, "What's wrong with you?" And I'm just like, dude, I was all the way over to the right. I don't know what more I was supposed to do except disappear, you know. But it's easy to, you know, some tracks, that's the way it is. All right, so Vadim, definitely...
Yeah, this is a bit of a mountain to climb for him, because Grant is not exactly the easiest guy to get by.
No. The only way it would be more difficult is if Del Piccolo were in the lead.
Probably so. Some of the latest breakers ever.
No question. Well, we hope everybody on YouTube's been enjoying the race today. Certainly a taxing race from a driver and car point of view, but certainly with championship implications, because we don't have Wilkes finishing the race. So, oh, look at this! I think Vadim's definitely he wants to stay close to Grant. Doesn't want to let him get too far away. And they've just left Anders in the dust here. There's like 12 seconds back to Nilsson at this point. He's just not moving at the same pace as these guys. These two are going to duke it out to the end or break one or the other.
Oof. Vadim is really sparing no RPMs here chasing Grant. I can tell you that. Although it needs still to be seen, because it's not the same if he's hitting the upper part of the tachometer with still the foot completely pressed, or if it's already with the foot lifted, you know, because in that case it's not as damaging for the engine.
Yeah. One thing too to point out is we got two Ferraris in the top six, which means it's going to be a good points day for Ferrari.
Yeah, that's for sure.
They are currently in the lead in the Constructors' Championship. So this right now they're looking at 5 more points, and Lotus hasn't is not going to finish this race. So that's going to be a huge jump for them. And Benetton will be scoring 2 points, so that'll bring them a little closer. But it's going to be a massive points lead for Scuderia Ferrari if things continue the way we see it here. Can you imagine trying to hold a church service on this Sunday, being right next to the track like that?
Well, to be fair, these were not the loudest sounding Formula 1 Seba, because the turbo muffles a lot the exhaust.
Well, I guarantee you it was still loud downtown here because of all the concrete buildings. It was bouncing off the walls. I mean, far louder than anything you would hear on Belle Isle, for example. So. Yep, Vadim staying right with him. It's amazing how often they're throwing the back end of the car around. You'd think at some point the tires would just be like, no more, no more.
Yeah, but that's the only way to get the car here around the corners.
True, yeah, true.
And the thing is that Vadim must be thinking now, how the hell am I going to get past this guy? Because he's already opening a bit of a gap.
And Boss and Del Piccolo, there's still a little bit of distance between the two, but Del Piccolo definitely is going to have designs on 4th place before this race is over.
Yeah, that's for sure. And Grant is heading there into the distance. I don't know if he cracked up the boost or whatever, but...
All right, do we want to look at the trivia question?
I think so. Seems a good moment.
Okay. So the trivia question was, Just to recap. Which former Formula One driver scored 2 podium finishes on the downtown Detroit circuit, one in Formula One and the other in Indy cars? Is it A, Stefan Johansson, B, Teo Fabi, or is it C, Eddie Cheever? Time's up. What do you think?
I'd go with Stefan Johansson.
No!
Scoring.
The answer is Eddie Cheever. He was second in he was second in 1982, and then he was third in 1990 in IndyCar. So you're thinking of Johansson because Johansson was third on his IndyCar debut in Detroit, but that was on Belle Isle. So it doesn't count. Detroit, downtown Detroit circuit.
Wrong.
Not Belle Isle. Oh goodness, Alberto.
Well, I cannot get all of them.
No. All right, back to the race. C for Cheever. Yes, a lot of people are saying that. Okay. Yellow. Oh my goodness, yellow flag, and it is Rocha. Luciano Rocha.
Barbecue.
Barbecue for Rocha. That's too bad. Out of the race. Oh, man.
And I think that the gloves are off between Del Piccolo and Juha Boss now. And look at that, what happened there to Juha Boss, because there goes Del Piccolo.
Oh, Del Piccolo, right by.
I think he must have missed a gear. I cannot explain it otherwise.
I think a lot of overtakes have happened because people have been missing gears. But yeah, look at that. Right past Juha into fourth place. Okay, Vadim's still with the Grant.
That's a gear missed, I think. I was watching the replay, and yes, I think it was a missed gear. And you cannot even allow that.
Oh my goodness! Vadim just had oh my goodness. Well, that could have been Vadim's race just there. Let's have a look at a replay of what happened there. It looks like he missed a gear completely coming out of. Listen to this very carefully. He's right with Grant. They come down to the Detroit Princess. Now listen very carefully. Oh yeah, something definitely went wrong there. But in any case, he's lost a lot of time. He's got 3 seconds to make up now to the leader.
And
with about 10 laps to go.
Desperate to get his position back.
Yes.
Going to be really tough between these two because those cars are very much on the same pace. Juha's trying to close out of the chicane now that he.
Look at that! Boost is up. He's gonna do it against the wall. He can't do that. Goes back the other side. Is he gonna do it around the outside into turn one?
It nearly worked.
No, he can't get it done. Oops. Oh my goodness! He's still trying it there. My goodness! Careful, careful. Now trying to blast up the hill. Not going to get it done there. Man, he's desperate to get that fourth place back. Look at him. He's throwing the car all over. He's trying to be Rosberg. He's in Prost's car. He should be in the other one if he wants to drive that way.
That's true. That's true. It's a very Rosberg-esque drive. The father, not the son.
Oh! Oh, never mind. I thought I saw something. I was mistaken. So about 10 laps to go into the Detroit Grand Prix. It's been a really interesting race for sure. But again, there are question marks hanging over the cars in the lead. Grant leading now by 3.8 seconds. Vadim is in second. Nilsson just motoring along in third with no problem.
Juha was hitting there on the rear.
Oh, man. Look out, guys.
That's too aggressive.
Oh, he's going up the inside at the pump house turn. Can he get it done? Yes, he does. Takes away the line and gets back in front of Gel Piccolo. So this is a great battle here. I think Gabrielle might have missed a gear there, because look at Yuha streak away now.
Yep. But this is not over yet. By
No,
any
it's not.
means.
No, not a chance.
Grant's still in a solid lead, and as long as the engine keeps it together, it does look very well for him. And now he's short shifting it. Okay, let's hope it's not too late.
Coxon's had a pretty quiet race, but it looks like he's going to score a point for Ferrari here. And Team, it's too bad that John Team looks like he's going to finish the race out of the points, because he's had a nice drive for the Team Haas entry, and it's Eddie Cheever. So American team, American driver. I mean, this is definitely a team that would have wanted to do well here. But 7th place is still pretty good, considering how difficult this track is. And Janik doing his hometown crowd proud by finishing in the top 10 today as well. Although he's factored into a few overtakes here and there, or some battles unwittingly, but yeah, definitely Yuha's now pulling out an advantage here. The gap between Vadim and Grant is solidified pretty much. It's 3 seconds, more or less. So unless something pretty serious happens to Grant, I don't know. It's looking like, I mean, Vadim, if he has any...
Yuha there nearly missed it. Oof. Smoke coming out of the tires. Big error by him, and now Del Piccolo is again close to him.
Yeah.
I think he was furious with himself for the error before. And he has he had a bit of a red mist until he was able to recover the position.
Yeah, it must have been what it was, but and we also saw a rather uncharacteristic error from David Jakes today. Look at them lock up the tires here. Yeah, I mean, you have to hit your marks so precisely here just to make a lap work. Down to Cobalt Hall once again here, which is hosting a car expo. Unfortunately, we can't get down there right now, but we got our own expo out here to watch.
And I think that Vadim is reeling in on Grant. Not by a mile, but he's slowly crawling his way back, because since Grant is now short shifting it a bit, because he probably is very much aware of the abuse he has put in the engine so far. Vadim, who has, again, same as Grant, nothing to lose, is probably getting a bit more of the engine. Well, the only one on the top that is certainly not... Oh, you have us, look at that! The tires are total, then Gabriele Del Piccolo...
Oh my goodness!
Position.
He did! God, you turn your head just for a second and you miss it. Coming up the hill. Oh yeah, he made a mistake at turn 3. At the end of Atwater. Yeah, just locked up and went wide. He was lucky to get back on the track without any trouble there. My goodness, Gabrielle got by. But that was very close between the two of them.
And Anders Nilsson is out of the race.
What?
Anders is out of the race.
What happened?
He was cruising it. How's
What?
it possible?
That Barbecue! No! Unbelievable! Oof. The Italian stallion has given up the ghost for Anders Nilsson. Oh my goodness, that was not expected. Unbelievable. Well, shoot. And the battle between Juha and Gabriel rages on. So,
you bet. Oh, Juha's in the.
Oh my goodness,
Juha!
Juha!
Absolutely shot.
Yeah, Juha's in the wall now. So, oh my goodness, that was a tape we were watching. We're now back at live action. Juha running into the wall. Oh my goodness, his car is absolutely in trouble now. He's gonna have.
He has no tires left.
He's gonna have to go to pits and get tires. Is he gonna come in for tires? No, he's gonna continue going.
Not at this point, but this will give Gabriele the third place.
Yeah, Gabriel is gonna be pretty much
if the engines in Grant and Vadim's car hold.
Yeah, this also. Oh, good grief. Juha's just gonna be happy to get this car to the finish, I think. Yeah, Anders dropping down the order. This is gonna promote Coxon to 5th, Brian Janik to 7th. John Team is out of the race.
What?
So both Lolas are out of the race now. That promotes Janik into 6th place. The Detroit Demon is in the points in his home Grand Prix.
Okay. And Vadim is getting closer to Grand Prix now thanks to traffic. Only 1.5 seconds between both of them.
Oh my goodness, he tried to dive up the inside of Bruno, but thankfully he didn't hit him.
Yeah, Bruno probably wasn't expecting it from so far away, but look at that. I mean, we're going to have a battle for the lead in any moment. Probably Vadim is thinking that if he got so far today as to be there, why not stretch it a bit more and try to go for the lead and win the race.
Well, Juha might be able to soldier on here to the finish. Maybe just slowing. Oh my goodness, he's having a really hard time bringing the car to a stop.
I think the car is damaged also.
It's got to be because the car changed lanes on him there when he hit the brakes, so something's not right.
Yeah.
That's more than just a tire problem.
Yeah, it's a damaged suspension. That's for sure. He
must
glassed the
have
walls too many times.
Somewhere.
But that means that we are still 8 laps from the finish, and Richard Coxon is coming very quick. I mean, even if the distance is very big, it's diminishing very rapidly.
And that is a huge shocker to me that that Nilsson's car would quit like that, because you and I had no notion of him pushing the car too hard. It's these two guys here that we would have.
I was about to say that he was the only guy on the top that was actually cruising it and wanted to be safe, but look at that. I mean, poof.
Unbelievable.
And Vadim now eyeing again a victory because he's only 1-point-something seconds behind Grant.
Yep.
And Grant will probably still be short shifting until the very last moment when Vadim is right behind him, because I can see he's short shifting. He's not even hitting full 1,000. Now they're coming to Little Al, lap car in front. Ooh, this is going to be hairy again. Vadim losing traction there at the exit.
Oh, Little Al making good use of the runoff space there to get out of the way. Good job. And poor Juha, look at him. He's having to crawl around the track just at a snail's pace just to make it. He's got a good 46 seconds between himself and Coxon, so hopefully he should be able to bring it home in 4th, but who knows? I mean, he's moving pretty slow.
He is, last lap by him, let me tell you, was a full 2 minutes. In the case of Richard Coxon, it was 1.44, which means 16 seconds quicker.
Yep.
That's a lot, even if we are 6 laps from the end of the race. But Coxon must be sure, very much aware of this situation.
Yep. No question about it. Well, high attrition race this has definitely been. We were expecting that. We got it. But it's not over yet.
Look at, it's still the fight for the lead is on.
Yep. .125 seconds between 1st and 2nd. And the Renault people will be very happy. They've got cars running 1 and 2. They've got billboards all over the place here.
I don't know if Grant is actually luring Vadim into overrevving the engine, because I can tell you, Vadim is changing all the gears at 2,500 or even more, and Grant meanwhile is short shifting it.
I don't know. Maybe. There's always a psychological component in auto racing.
Yep.
I don't care what formula it is. There's
well,
Juha.
Certainly pressing Grant, because we have seen that any error here means absolute disaster. So, what Vadim thinks is, at this point is probably, even if I cannot overtake him, I need to put enough pressure on him so that he makes an error. Oh, Juha was there. He's spinning. He has
Oh!
Yeah.
He spun at Cobo Hall.
Going again. Yeah, that car is really crippled. And Richard Coxon is coming now very quickly.
Oh boy. Yeah, I don't think he's going to be able to hold off Coxon at this rate. And there are now 4 laps to go, this time by.
Yeah, and Grant is, I think, at this point, giving it all he has.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, there you go. Quickest lap of the race so far by Grant Ridal.
Yep. Not surprised.
And Juha was 30 seconds ahead of Coxon, but that's diminishing very rapidly.
Mm-hmm. It is.
Although it could, I don't know if it could be enough. I don't know. Oof.
Yeah, he's really pushing the car. Oh! Vadim just scraped the wall there.
Yeah, he's climbing the walls. He's doing all that he can to put pressure on Grant. Unsuccessfully so far, but will not be for want of trying. And Little Al is now in net. Oh! Barbecue there by Matusek. Look at that. At the entrance of the pit.
Oh, yeah. I don't think he's going to make it. No. No, that's too bad. His teammate's still soldiering on. Janik in 6th place now, so he'll be happy with a points finish at home in the Brabham.
And Little Al is 9th on the AGS.
Coxon has still got a ways to go to catch Juha, but we'll see what happens there. Oh, yes. Vadim definitely closing now on Grant. 1 second is the gap. This time by, there'll be 2 laps to go. 2.5 right now.
And I'm really surprised that the engines are resisting this punishment. But well, maybe they were lucky today with the lifespan of the engine.
Yeah,
whoa, Grant there. Oof.
Yeah, be careful.
Locking
Identical power in these cars.
Yes. Better chassis for the Ligier though. And I think that Grant's tires are starting to give up.
Is this the 015 or the 014 Tyrrell?
That's the modern one.
Okay, because I know that they went back to the 014 for Canada. Coxon is out!
Oh no! What happened?
Barbecue.
Oh, whoa, whoa.
There it is. The engine expires going onto Saint Antoine. Unbelievable. Both Ferraris out of the race. So what was supposed to be...
Big relief for Juha.
What was supposed to be a fantastic points day for Ferrari has literally gone up in flames. Walt Whitman over here. Yeah, Juha, big relief for him. He's going to get home in 4th here with no problem. Janik, that means he's going to go up to 5th place. And Bruno will finish in the points if he's able to get around here in time, if he has enough laps left. 2 laps to go. Now with Grant in the lead. God, the cars are dropping like flies.
Yeah, this is not over yet.
Oh my goodness, Vadim just came very close to hitting the wall there. He lost a shit ton of time. Oops, sorry.
Well, he has softer tires than Grant, so
Welcome to
they
family
must
programming.
be very hot by now.
Yeah. Yeah, he's I think he's been pushing to a point where he has to take a breather, so I don't know, maybe this is all that Grant needs to bring it home. But these two have been putting on a great show for us. Del Piccolo soldiering on in 3rd, Juha limping around in 4th, and Janik now classified in 5th place, a top 5 finish for the Detroit Demon in his hometown race.
Pretty amazing.
Coxon still classified 6th, but eventually Chacon, well, oh my goodness, Juha spins right behind Chacon, but gets it going again. That car is absolutely just in bad shape.
Yeah, thankfully for him, he has 1 point something second leads over the next car, because otherwise he would be in big trouble.
As we are now in the final lap of the Detroit Grand Prix, Grant Ridall leads by 2 seconds, a solid 2 seconds, and unless something goes drastically wrong, I'm pretty sure that he's going to bring it home. Grant has had several amazing drives this year so far, but not the success he would have liked. And here he has a chance to make it all come right in the biggest way after a really exciting battle.
Watch out, Brian Janik is now catching up with Juha Boss, but I think that's not for position. He must be
No, it's not. He's a lap down, so it won't matter.
Yeah, he will be unlapping himself maybe before end of the race, but
Down to Woodward Avenue for the last time, now into Jefferson Avenue. Cobo Hall one more time. Over the Lodge Freeway. Past Cobo Arena.
Hey, look at Vadim, he's there.
Yeah, he's right there with him. So he might have one more shot. Yellow flags just ahead here.
That must be...
Oh, Paggiola has blown his engine in the tunnel. So both Minardis out of the race now as they come up here. Yes, Vadim's making one last-ditch effort, but I don't think it's going to amount to much. Although, here they come up to the chicane. Vadim is giving it everything he can, but it's not going to happen. He's trying, but no, there it is. Grant Ridall wins the Detroit Grand Prix. The final margin, 0.04 of a second, almost 5. Incredible. Great performance. Gabriel will finish in 3rd place. I believe he still has to complete this lap. And Juha is still soldiering around in 4th place. Great result for Grant, and a great drive by Vadim, proving that he has the ability to deliver in races, not just in qualifying. So I wouldn't be surprised if we see him in the winner's circle. Not today, but maybe sometime in the future.
So, how's the score of the people who have not finished? They do not score at all, no?
Say
No
it
matter
again.
where they finish? How's the scoring situation of the people who have not finished? There is no chance that they can score even if they did not finish was at the last moment, no?
It depends on how far they went in the race. If you're 90%, you're classified. So
Therefore, because otherwise Little Al would be in 7th position with the
Well.
AGS. Yeah, okay, Bruno Paggiola is qualified because he did 58 laps, so I think that accounts for that rule.
yeah, exactly.
So in that case he's safe, but...
Juha bringing the car to a stop. In 4th place, Brian. He's going to finish in 5th place. If he could just bring it home here. He's still going. Clips the barrier, my goodness. I thought he would have already taken the flag here, but apparently he's not done doing fast laps. But yeah, Chacon, 6th place also, so 1 point for him, 2 points for Brian. Yuha is already in the garage, and he picks up 3 points. 4 points for Gabriel. And Vadim gets 6 for his effort in the Tyrrell today. But a fantastic result for Grant Riddall today, winning the Detroit Grand Prix.
Oof, that was an eventful race.
Indeed. Tiring to go through and to, tiring to drive, but also not tiring on the same order as driving, but definitely mentally taxing for the commentators. So let's see if we have anybody in the green room. We do not, so we can take this moment to talk about what is coming up next at ISO. I wonder if we have anything going on next weekend, Alberto. Let's see.
Maybe something a bit south of Detroit.
Yeah, maybe not too far away. Oh yes, it's the Indy 500 time trials. How about that? Our big annual show where we give everybody 5 minutes of TV time. And there's a good chance that we will see a new track record. Because
It is.
Yes.
And then we've got now, I think, so many people that if the regulars all confirm the entry, there's going to be some bumpage.
A little birdie told me that the Penske's have already broken the 77 lap record in practice. Of course, it does not count until that day. But I'm going to make sure that we have a recording of Tom Carnegie announcing new track records, and we'll play it every time that occurs. So, because as everybody knows, that was the track record had been broken in 77. So we were back to Tom Carnegie's famous call that we hadn't heard since 73 because of the change to the cars. But of course, after we set the 33 car field, then we have the Indianapolis 500 on May 16th. Check the form schedule. I don't think we've decided what hour we're going to start that race. That's a conversation we admins have to have because it's a long race, but we'll talk about it. Then the next race after this one will be the third round of the DRM series at one of Coxon's favorite tracks.
Oh, yes.
Oh, yes. He can't wait for this.
Yeah, it's only a shame that he cannot race an Avanti there, but otherwise.
Yeah, no kidding. Diepholz, which is an airport track. Oh, God, these tracks are... I'm not a fan either, but that's coming up on the 23rd of May, and then we mentioned it before once, the Grand Prix of France on May the 30th at Le Castellet. That will finish out the month, and that's the next round for these cars. I believe we have one driver, or two drivers in the green room here. Yes, we have one here that we can bring in. It's Gabriel Del Piccolo. Congratulations, Gabriel, on your third place finish on the mean streets of Detroit. Take us through your race.
Yeah, a lot of fun with Juha Boss, and think in the final stage he got problems with brakes.
That is correct. I had one brake disc fail.
Oh, and Juha's with us now too, so there you go.
Yeah, that's we were suspecting that, yes. But Gabriele, as far as I could see, you have been all the race very, very careful with the engine. I saw that you were like a pure robot, absolutely mechanical, shifting at 11,000 and not going past it in any case, no matter how hot the situation was.
Yeah, I missed 2 gears, but no more. And I was, with manual clutch and H gearbox in this race. Was more stressful, but more concentrated on engine lasting.
So it seemed on the broadcast, and you have been rewarded by that. It's very nice to see you there in the podium.
Yeah.
Good job too, Juha, getting that car to the finish. It couldn't have been easy.
No, I again was very lucky at the place where it happened. Because if any other corner, no runoff, it would have been a write-off. So
We're also very lucky that Coxon didn't finish, because otherwise he was catching up with you very quickly.
I could see him coming. I think I had him in hand. It would have been really close, but we're coming.
We also have Jonathan Asserclinton here. Jonathan, we saw that you had some adventures with the wall during this race, but you're in some good company there. How did you find the Detroit circuit today?
Pretty good to drive. Unfortunately, I made a stock speed a bit less fun to drive, and I think like 10, 15 laps in, I struck the wall quite hard and bent the left rear. I think like 5 laps later, Bruno had caught me back up. We had a fight early on. He put a move on, and I tried to give him room, but I think he broke a little bit too late, gave me a slight tap, and I couldn't keep it off the wall and had a long repair. From there on, it was just transportation, really, and lucky to pick up a top 10.
All right. We also have Vadim in here, but his icon is showing him away. So I don't know if he's interested in speaking to us or not. But looking forward to the next race, gentlemen, at Le Castellet. Any thoughts on that circuit? It's the half version of Le Castellet.
Wait a moment, because Vadim is indeed here.
Yeah, he's here. He just...
Can you hear him? Because I can hear him.
Hang on a second. Let me see. Might be a setting on my end.
Yeah, might be a setting on your end, because I clearly hear him.
Ah, here we go. Yes, Vadim. Sorry about that. That was my fault.
No biggie.
Vadim, congratulations on second place in the race. Great battle between you and Radal. How much was left there at the end?
First things first. I think you guys, or maybe you guys, saw that in the stream. My first passing move in turn 2 was basically an accident because I missed the brake marker, so I had to do something.
Oh.
And then I get in turn 4, I gave him the slightest, like on my screen, I gave him the slightest step and his car spun. I was thinking about this incident for 30 laps while chasing a Ferrari from time to time, and then suddenly some blue car appears, and I was like, well, here's your first place, you deserve it. He gave it back, and from that point on, gentlemen, from that point on, it was like, you know, guns fully loaded, like whatever was in the cars. I think both of us just did that for I think 20 laps. Wow, what a race. What a race.
It was very
Great venue.
stressful, and we could see that you were sparing no effort, and that I was really fearing all the race that you would get a barbecue, because you were hitting the high part of the RPM. You were going to nearly 13,000 at some time, so you did not really take much care about that, no?
All gloves were off all the time. Like, seriously, I tried to win, but I mean, the simple fact that Grant passed everybody, and I think we lapped like basically every car, just goes to show that, like, I think we took it very, very seriously, but fair, I guess.
Yeah, it was.
Great race. Super exhausting. By the way, greetings to my brother. Matthäus, ich hab's nicht geschafft. Nur 2. Platz. He's watching, I think.
Cool.
Yeah. Thanks.
So we're going to be going to Le Castellet next. Any thoughts from those of you on that circuit? It's the half version of Le Castellet.
Yeah, how do you expect? Let's go first of all with the order finish. Gabriele, the Benetton is a very powerful engine, and it's increasingly becoming a more competitive car over the season. What do you think of the long straight at Paul Ricard? Do you think it's going to benefit you there a lot?
Yeah, absolutely yes. Because there I had some kind of lack of torque, and I wasn't so competitive as Renault engines. Anyway, in Le Castellet, I think I will get my chance, because Le Castellet is a track that I know, and at long straight my car suits very well, as in Spa as well.
Juha, what do you think about the fuel consumption situation? Because that's the strength of the McLaren. Do you think at Paul Ricard we are going to be seeing the McLaren go to the top at the end of the race?
I hope so. I'm already lucky to cut part of the straight off it by shortening the track. That saves me. But yeah, it could be a good track for me. So I'm looking forward to it.
And Vadim, I can see that the cars equipped with a Renault engine, they are more thirsty because they are more draggy. So I'm guessing that for Paul Ricard, you will be trying to put the minimum absolute possible wing. Is that right?
Absolutely. I told you, in Canada, I actually just stumbled upon, what was it, Lift and Coast. And I'll be doing a lot of that, I think, everybody with the Renault engine. Although I think we get upgrades in Tourer, so it might not be that bad. But from my testing, I expect Williams, Ferrari, and Benetton really, really putting up a show there.
Yeah, it was very disappointing for the Ferraris today. But if they are in form, they are going to be great rivals there. Yeah, that's for sure.
Well, before we get to France, though, and before the DRM race, we have this curious American tradition called Indianapolis. I doubt that, I'm not sure we're going to see Gabriel or Vadim in a car. I know Juhas will be driving Russ Pollock's car. And Jonathan, are you thinking of qualifying a car for anybody?
I think I'll put up a waiver that if anyone needs a qualified car, I'll at least give it a go. But I'm mainly just looking forward to the show and calling the action at the actual 500 later this month. Should be a lot of fun.
Yep. All right. Well, thanks very much to everybody for tuning in, and thank you to Alberto again for a great job in the booth. Always appreciate your insights and banter. So thanks to everybody for watching, and thanks also to ISO for the privilege of showing my home Grand Prix in all its splendor. Not the most popular of F1 tracks, but I think we did a good job showing it as it was meant to be shown. So for Alberto, Gabrielle, Jonathan, Juha, and Vadim, this is Jason White saying so long from Detroit. We'll see you next time.
Our pleasure.